Black Ops 4 was my last Call of Duty. No story mode, only 2 zombies maps I cared about, 3 if we count classified, a multiplayer that did not grab me, and Blackout can go and ask the neighbour for a cup of sugar instead because he ain't getting it from me. No, the last Call of Duty I bought because I really cared was Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I was always more of a Treyarch Call of Duty kind of guy over the rest. Of course I liked Modern Warfare 2 and I did play the rest, but I don't know. Once we hit the Xbox One, things kind of changed. I mean, it was probably just me. But anyways, I kept hearing so much about Modern Warfare 2019, however, I didn't get it. It didn't interest me, I tried Warzone, it wasn't for me, and I moved on with my life. But in November of 2020, I picked up an Xbox Series X, and then in December of 2020, I got COVID-19 from a family member who works in the NHS. An illness which I'm still suffering side effects from, and I knew back when I first got it that I was not setting foot in a gym for a while. So after some convincing from an old friend, more on that later, I picked up Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I did try the beta. From memory, I played on 2 maps. Armada on one of those combined arms, ground war modes, and Miami on some game mode. I did not vibe with it at the time, but then again, I played it on the PlayStation 4, and I never really enjoyed playing shooters on the PS4. The stick placement coupled with the most annoying L2 and R2 Sony has ever made just put me off shooters on that platform. I say that, the PS3's L2 and R2 are worse, so I take that back. Miami was not a good map in my mind at the time, and I never cared for Call of Duty's attempts at Battlefield-esque modes, but skip 2. And with an over 10 days worth of playtime on Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, I felt it appropriate to do a 1 year later video, especially since I have footage dating all the way back to December of 2020 playing this game. This is my first match you're seeing on screen right now. To tackle this, we're splitting this video up into sections, that being campaign, multiplayer, and zombies, with my final thoughts of course being at the end. Timestamps are available if you only wish to hear about a certain topic of the game, and to skip to certain points, as I can tell already from writing this script, I talk so much stuff before I even talked about playing the multiplayer. And my main love is zombies, so each subcategory also has timestamps if you don't want to hear say about the battle pass for the umpteenth time this console generation. Before we start, to give you an idea of my history with the Call of Duty series and the person I am in relation to CoD, very quickly, Call of Duty 1? Meh. Call of Duty 2? Yeah, I remember it being pretty good. Call of Duty 3? Meh. I remember playing this on the 360 and the Wii, and both kind of sucked. I have a memory of this game, right, where I watched a review from the now defunct magazine Endgamer for the Wii version, and all the gameplay was for the review was just a dude shooting at a tank with an MP40, and I found it so funny. If I can find it in post, I will put it here now. Even as an adult, not just as a kid, I found this so funny. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Yeah, I enjoyed it at the time. I haven't touched the remaster, and I don't know if it's still good nowadays. Call of Duty World at War. I loved it at the time, I wonder if it still holds up though. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Do I need to say anything? Call of Duty Black Ops. I love it, man, I still do. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. Both damn great games. Call of Duty Ghosts. I respect it for being different with its survival mode, but I found it rather average overall. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Zombies was surprisingly meh, even if it does have probably the worst zombies map ever made. I say that, I wrote this line in September of 2021, and yeah. But yeah, I expected Advanced Warfare Zombies, or Exo Zombies as it's called, to be pretty damn horrific, but overall it was just meh, and the rest of the game, so campaign and multiplayer, was just kind of average. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Average. I only really played the zombies. Multiplayer I dipped my toes into, and campaign the same. And with zombies I only played the launch map. I found it fine. It's a good launch map, but it didn't really make me want to continue playing. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I never finished the story. The online was pretty average in my opinion. But I really liked the zombies, minus Revelations. I'll never like that map. Call of Duty World War 2. It looks pretty bloody nice, even now in my opinion, but I found it average. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear this was the one that had opening loot boxes in like your hub beach area. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Blackout is not getting any sugar from me, the multiplayer is a blur in my mind, and I liked 9 and Classified, and didn't mind Blood of the Dead in terms of zombies. Modern Warfare 2019. I haven't played it, I already told you. Call of Duty Warzone. I played for a few hours, it doesn't interest me. Battle Royales in general don't interest me. If I had to pick one, it probably would be Fortnite, just because of its building mechanic and how kind of colourful and different it is against every other Battle Royale that we see in the mainstream gaming media. Right, well, after a year of playing this game, a total in-game playtime amount of, oh my god, I need a life, and a script I am terrified to start reading fully, let's get into this. This is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War 1 year later. This was a tough section to write. I played the story pretty much when I bought the game as a way of getting used to CoD again after my 3-year break, and that was over a year ago as of the time of writing this part of the video. So I went back, watched a bunch of stuff to refresh my memory, replayed some bits, and I think I have a clear picture now of what I want to say. I'm not going to go on and on like I'm going to with zombies and multiplayer, plus a lot of my campaign time was at the height of myself having COVID, so enjoy these expanded upon notes more than an overall review of the campaign. This game is a case where the bad ending was actually more fun. I really don't care much for the cast around me, so being able to gun them down at the end was rather fun for me. And although the story was rather average in my opinion, I had fun. Sadly, it wasn't really turn your brain off fun, but it had its moments. Raven Software headed the development of the story, while Treyarch handled the multiplayer and the zombies. Raven, if you don't know, made Call of Duty Ghosts, but before that they made the surprisingly good Wolverine movie game. Shout out to that. If you're watching this video and don't know how Call of Duty works in terms of its development, since Activision owns more companies than I have cells in my body, various companies work on Call of Duty at a time to fit the yearly release schedule. How it works is there is a main studio, in this case 2 studios, with various studios providing additional support. That's why there are so many logos when you load up a Call of Duty game, which you can never skip, by the way. That gets on my tits. So, Raven Software, a second stab at a story since Ghosts, and in a very important role, as the campaign is normally marketed heavily, and maps for multiplayer and zombies sometimes are based on areas from the story mode a lot of the time. So, how did they do? I found it fine at the time, but I have no desire to ever play it again, and I'm only talking about it due to this video, so take what you will from that statement. You play as Belle, someone you pick the gender and background of before you start the story, that of which takes place between Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. A majority of the missions start from this hub area. I wish this had more things you could actually do in it, as I feel this semi-free roam thing could be fun for Call of Duty. Heck, that mission where you got to free roam in a building was cool. With that mission, you got to decide how to infiltrate a location, and I really enjoyed it. It was my favourite mission in the game, besides killing everyone at the end. Fitting with this game's story and style, there are riddles and ciphers you have to solve at points in the game, but they were really average. There's also intel you can grab throughout the story which aids missions and adds context, but overall I was really not impressed here, if you couldn't already tell. I played it on Veteran and there was a good challenge to be had. It felt easier than other campaigns in the past, due to how great Call of Duty's just control nowadays. Although, there was one part of the game where you were pretty much fully exposed, being lifted out of an area, and I died here so many bloody times. I nearly lowered the difficulty, but managed to pull through. Never give up, kids. Unless it's too hard, then maybe think about it. I like that Raven Software tried to break the mold by having this mission board here, having possible side missions, having dialogue choices that affect how a mission ends, but this was not for me, sadly. I am sorry that I can't delve deeper here into the campaign, but I don't want to talk forever about a video game with the life cycle of a year. Ah, yeah, right, never mind, ignore me. The talking ground of any secondary school, at least when I was there, the multiplayer of Call of Duty returned as expected, and, well, bear in mind that this is the first Call of Duty I was fully invested in since Black Ops 3, but it has an alright amount of content. A year later, On launch, the multiplayer was a shell. There was a disgraceful amount of guns to pick from, and, well, a rather typical amount of maps, with typical game modes you'd expect like Capture the Flag coming later in the game's lifecycle. Before I speak about the actual multiplayer, I want to talk about what I think is one of the biggest problems with this CoD, and I imagine the next CoDs to come. How content is distributed, and the distribution of workload. With Fireteam Modes, which are big battles on big maps a la Battlefield, your typical Call of Duty multiplayer style maps, 2v2 and 3v3 modes, and Zombies maps, which are now 2 different types of maps, round based and the new Outbreak mode, and there's the new Onslaught mode, as well as Warzone. There's so many boxes that need to be ticked, so much content that needs to be produced to please everyone. And when you try and please everyone, someone is going to be unhappy. For example, the wait between DLC map 1 for the traditional zombies and DLC 2 was so long, it was like 5 months. And when I would see Warzone just continue to get content, it would just piss me off. Speaking of, you could probably guess already, but no discussion of Warzone here, as that does not interest me and I only played a few hours of it a few years ago. Sorry. Anyways, where to start? Let's discuss how they're funding all this content. The Battle Pass, popularized by Fortnite, makes its way to Call of Duty Cold War. And look, Battle Passes just do not interest me. Never paid money for one in my life, not even for Rocket League. And Cold War doesn't really innovate much with the expectations that come with a Battle Pass. But I actually have bought every Battle Pass in Cold War. But this is because I bought the cross-gen version of Cold War since I have a Series X and I need to buy the Series X version, blur. And this version for some reason came with 1,100 CoD points, which allowed me to buy one Battle Pass. I guess the mentality there was if I don't play enough, I'd have to pay to get it again, whatever, cheers Activision I guess. In the Battle Passes, you get skins for weapons and your operatives, which are characters you can play as in the multiplayer and in zombies. Emotes, which include drinking a scorpion and giving people the bird, I can feel the griefing already. And skins for vehicles. But I'm not going to poo-poo everything in the Battle Pass. Some skins for your guns are for sure quite nice. You can earn emblems and calling cards from the Battle Pass, and charms for your gun. You can even earn music packs, which can be used in the bigger map game modes when you jump into a vehicle. Shout out to Hip Hop Mix 1. But you want to know what I enjoyed the most? Watches. Yeah, you can collect a bunch of watches, which, well, are useful. Not only for the fact that you don't have to Alt-Tab or click on your console's home button to check the time, so you don't stay up all night, or in my case, make sure you know when to stop so your partner doesn't wake up and ask if I had been gaming all night. There are also different watches that help track your progress as well, so you look down on the watch and it would show you how close you are to getting to the next level. That's cool as well. That's actually pretty neat. Pretty useful if you're trying to grind for levels before a season ends. The create a class system that I heard so much about from Modern Warfare 2019 is here, and, well, yeah, it's great. We have an alright amount of guns now, but if I show you footage from a recent gameplay session versus a December 2020 gameplay session, it's kind of disgraceful how many weapons were available at the time. But the depth of customizability is a good balance between deep and shallow. It's not Ghost Recon Future Soldier with its gunsmith, but you know, it's not Duke Nukem Forever. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'd buy this for $1.
It was super awesome in between rounds of search to be able to go and change my class and alter it too. That was until Season 4, where for some reason you can't do it anymore. You can still alter your class during gameplay and change your class too, but not in between rounds, the one time you'd, like to change since you're not playing the game. What's the point in taking that feature away? It proper annoyed me, that. The balancing of guns has been a bit rough over the course of the game's life too. At the time of writing this section, the Tech 9 and Marshall shotgun pistols are still way too overpowered, and they were for an entire season. Update, I think they're fixed now. I don't know, I'm too scared to find out. And I remember at the launch of the game, shotguns were key in zombies, and it took multiple patches to make every other gun somewhat useful. A few other little things. This game has crossplay between PS4 and PS5, the Xbox family of consoles, and the PC, which is pretty dang neat. Useful to add numbers to the lobbies, and any game that has crossplay is just a thumbs up in my book. And if you want to, you can turn off this feature, if you don't want to face any keyboard warriors or controller plebs. On PS5 and Series X, we have the option to do 4K 60 or 1080p 120, which rocks. Love games having options like this. It even has cross-gen progression, so I could play on my Xbox One and my Xbox Series X, and keep leveling up. Which is, yeah, well, cool. XP earned in zombies and in multiplayer count towards your overall level. Personally, I love that. That gives me a chance to level up a gun and earn attachments in zombies, and then finally use the gun in multiplayer when I'm happy to finally use the gun I have. But before even loading into a game, we have a problem. Call of Duty Cold War has skill-based matchmaking. Is that inherently a problem? No, but there is no ranked mode. At least at launch, there was no ranked mode. So people who wanted to jump on casually and have a few games before you have to continue with the struggle that we call life, like me sometimes, were just kind of fed to the wolves as to whether we'd face sweaty players trying to make the next highlight reel, or people who just, want to play for fun. As I kind of alluded to, there was a ranked mode added later on called League Play, but we'll get to that in a minute, but quickly, it sucks. So without a good ranked mode to play, you just kind of level up to level up with no real reward in multiplayer after reaching level 55 for the first time. I say all that, I completely forgot there is a store where you can spend prestige keys. You earn prestige keys by leveling up and prestiging over and over again. And with these keys you can buy emblems, icons. I bought these two here that you're seeing on the bottom of the screen, and I kept these, I think, for like the entirety of my Cold War career. They just look really cool to me. You can also buy some exclusive skins for your weapons, but the thing is, I kind of forgot that the prestige keys did stuff after I bought these cool looking icons, so I kind of just bought stuff just because I could. I guess as I say this as well, you can also continue to level up after you prestige and reach the highest prestige you can get, because the higher level you get, the more exclusive emblems and cards you can unlock, but they're kind of shallow rewards really. Anytime you ever see someone who has one of those emblems, you kind of just think, oh, he's played a lot. More than, oh, he's skilled. You could argue you keep playing to earn progress in the Battle Pass, but the Battle Pass is, in my eyes, an addition to the game, not what the game should be built on. You could also say you're working towards challenges, but the reason I go back to Rocket League again and again over the years, for example, is because I love playing ranked. I feel at my skill level I should always be at least platinum, and every season, for the most part, I clock in some time to ensure that my skills are at that level still on PC. Seeing my rank is satisfying as a player. It's nice to be rewarded for the skills I have. You see, Call of Duty now doesn't have any paid DLC, but free updates in what they call seasons, with Cold War having 6 seasons. Each season we get a new battle pass, with the free unlockables normally being the new guns for the season, which, by the way, ever since Vanguard came out, this is how late I'm recording this bit, it was discovered that the guns were pretty much ready to go when the game was originally released, so screw Activision for that. You might earn some CoD points as well, which is this game's microtransaction currency by the way, and a few little trinkets. The content is fine. I have talked about the Battle Pass already in this script, but I will say, I personally don't care much for them, which means I actually gain as a consumer, as Activision doesn't get any extra money from me. I don't have to buy a season pass to get the new maps anymore, and it's no skin off my back. Do I like this business practice regarding battle passes? Hell no, far from it. But if I can be selfish for once in my life, I'm happy that I'm not spending 80 quid of my hard-earned money to get the full year of COD content. Saying that, this game I'm pretty sure was retailing for 80 quid on the store, or at the very least I'm pretty sure Vanguard is, so maybe what I just said was a complete lie. Ugh. I hate gaming. Speaking of said content varies to what we get, but each season, multiplayer got most of the content, with zombies trailing behind I found. We'll discuss zombies later, but as for multiplayer, we would normally get about 2 maps, one at launch of the season and one in the middle of the season, for the standard multiplayer modes, and then the various other content including mini-maps for the smaller modes, larger maps for the big modes, weapons, and normally a new score streak. COD points can, and Activision would like you to, be bought from an in-game store. COD points outside of the Battle Pass or buying tier skips can be used to purchase premium packs. And there's a load of them. Each pack normally comes with either a new operator character to play as, skins for said operator, some special execution animations, which can be done by meleeing the person from behind, and a shed load more stuff. To be fair to Treyarch, they also had some special events where licensed characters would be available to buy, like Rambo, John McClane and Judge Dredd. They did cost a hefty chunk of change to buy though. I get that licensing fees are no joke. I mean, look at any licensed character versus an original character when you're looking at a fighting game, but yeesh man, that is rough. Every season also had a through-line story for multiplayer and Warzone, on top of new content, with events going on throughout the season to tie into said story. If they were easy to do in multiplayer, I would do the events to get the rewards, but I never really went out of my way often. I could not tell you the narrative if I tried, but I don't want this review to be me looking at a Wikipedia article and telling you what someone else wrote. And from what I can see at a casual glance, the storyline was just there as a reason to introduce who would be in this season's Battle Pass.
Perseus, today we reshape the world.
Post-launch, I think in Season 2, they added League Play, that of which I played twice and never touched again. This is, as I mentioned earlier, Call of Duty's attempt at a ranked mode, with its own separate ranking system. We are restricted to certain game modes and weapons here. And look, I hate being destroyed by a pro sniper player as much as the next person, but actively restricting a player's weapon set by removing types of weapons, including grenades and perks? No. Perhaps these changes were made in League Play as these guns are not allowed in professional CoD play, but just saying those words sounds dumb as hell, so no, I feel there is no reason to restrict bloody weapons in game modes. That's just so stupid. Imagine if Rocket League Ranked was only 3v3, with 1v1, 2v2 and all the other modes just being allowed only in casual mode. So frickin' dumb. I would have loved to have a ranked mode of search and destroy, playing with 2 teams of 6 where everyone is talking, playing properly and going for that dub. I can't believe in 2021 I am talking about a lack of a ranked mode in a shooter's multiplayer. Didn't Halo 3 have this? Jesus Christ.
Is this what you do in your spare time?
Right, sorry. Actually playing the game. How does it feel to play, first of all? I remember at the time reading some people's thoughts on Cold War, and people were saying that they felt Cold War was a step down from Modern Warfare 2019, and how that game felt. I haven't played that, but if Warzone is built on the same engine, and I like to think it is, I remember that feeling fine. In my opinion, Cold War feels great to play. Call of Duty for me is a fast-paced shooter. I love playing search and destroy when the time is right, proving that CoD can be a tactical shooter to a point, but at the end of the day, I love hardpoint and domination. Rushing around with my weapon in tow, complaining how I shot first, yet the guy with the same gun just killed me. Hot take here, but I actually prefer score streaks to kill streaks. I play the points in domination and hardpoint, and I run around and grab tags and kill confirmed. Players during the kill streak era of Call of Duty simply were not rewarded as much for doing so, while now I can still earn some abilities in game while being an objective player, and that, well, just makes me happy. The score streaks themselves, yeah, they're fine, your standard fare. Nothing out of this world, but no complaints from me. What was pretty cool actually was the nuke was shadow added as a score streak in I think season 5, and to get that you need to get a 30 kill streak and then you can clear the map. It is a bit of a letdown though. In Modern Warfare 2 for example, a nuke comes down, blows up the map, and that ends the match. Cause, you know, it's a nuke. In Cold War, the match just continues now, which kinda sucks, but oh well, I guess that makes the game more fair and less annoying for more casual players. Alright, okay, game modes. What have we got here? We got the standard Call of Duty classics, Team Deathmatch, Free for All, Domination, Search and Destroy, Kill Confirmed, and Hardpoint. If you're new to Call of Duty and have not heard of them, one of these game modes is bound to make sure you have a good time. Next, we got Control. This was new to me, but it was actually introduced in Black Ops 4. I hardly remember the Black Ops 4 multiplayer, so let's just say this is new, okay? Yeah, okay, cool. So, both teams have got 30 lives per round, you gotta wait a few seconds to respawn if you go to visit the big man in the sky, and one team defends 2 points while the other attacks. In a typical match of Control, it really just becomes a battle for 1 point after 1 point gets captured rather fast. I really didn't care much for Control and only played it like twice. So you could say I didn't really play it enough to give a good review, but do you go back to a restaurant you had a bad meal at? Really? Huh. Well, good for you. I respect your perspective in life, but I didn't care much for Control. The game mode in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, not the video game Control by Remedy. Saying that, I didn't care much for Control actually as well. Maybe I should just spend the video talking about Control instead. We have the capture the flag I mentioned earlier in the video, which is pretty terrible on the larger 6v6 maps. But on maps like Diesel, ones that are smaller in nature, hell yeah, this was actually pretty fun. Call of Duty's fast movement really suits a game mode like this. Demolition is search and destroy with a faster playstyle. Search and destroy, for new viewers to Call of Duty, you got two teams, right? Two possible bomb sites. One team defends, one team attacks, 1 life per round. It's a Counter-Strike, if that helps anyone in the audience. Demolition is the same in principle, but unlimited respawns and every player who is attacking has the bomb. I know it's not new, but it was new to me as I had completely forgotten about this mode. It's pretty fun actually. I don't play it often, but yeah, fun. Real talk, I wrote this entire section and then forgot about some of the modes, so before we move on, here we go. Dropkick from memory was about grabbing a bag and holding it for as long as you could. It was whatever. And then VIP escort is about escorting a member of your team to one of 2 extraction points, while the other team tries to kill said VIP. It has its charm to it, but I only played it once. Fireteam is Call of Duty's more big battle style of gameplay. Think Battlefield, and that's what we've got here. 40 players, 10 teams of 4, and a variety of game modes I personally don't care for. There's Dirty Bomb, where you gotta collect uranium from crates scattered around the map, or by giving people a ticket to the afterlife, then delivering the uranium to one of 5 bomb sites. Once the bomb is filled and blows, that area for a bit is radiated, where you could actually get radiation poisoning if you were dumb enough to stay there. There's a version of Hardpoint with 40 players, 3 active zones at a time instead of 1. Elimination is basically another Battle Royale mode. And Sat-Link requires players to find a Sat-Link and power it up by capturing it to gain points. The first team to reach the score limit wins. That's it. That's all the CoD Wiki has to say on this mode. Thanks CoD Wiki, you helped a lot. Cheers. I didn't enjoy my time with any of the Fireteam modes. I am sure they have their audience, but this is not the kind of gameplay I want out of my Call of Duty. That being big open areas with larger bits of downtime. It just doesn't excite me, sorry. Fireteam is not the only mode to increase the traditional player count. Combined Arms bumps the count from 16 to 24, and there's Domination, Hardpoint, and Assault. Assault actually reminds me of War from Call of Duty World at War. You got 5 flags, the third one is free for the taking, whoever gets to it first pushes the other team back one. Whoever has the most flags at the end of the time limit wins. I don't mind this one to be honest. The rest, Although the bigger maps are a nice mix up to the formula and there are vehicles, this just ain't for me, man. So you may be thinking right now that I'm not a big fan of changing the traditional 6v6 format of Call of Duty by the way I'm dissing these game modes. Well, things do get fun in my opinion when you drop the numbers. Gunfight is an intense 2v2 mode set on smaller maps. The maps vary in quality and complexity, which we will discuss later when we get to the map section, but I adore Gunfight. You'll notice on any of my Gunfight gameplay I was always playing with the same person, and in my opinion that is the right thing to do. Without it, your chances are slim. Unless you're a Call of Duty god, you'll probably win if you're that. To win a match of Gunfight, you gotta win 3 rounds before the enemy team does. You spawn in with a random set of weapons that changes every 2 rounds. We would be overjoyed to get certain weapons and be pissed off when we got others before a round starts. From there, you either have to kill the enemy team or let the clock run down if you don't want to fight and attempt to capture a very small flag. One that fills up rather dang fast. I will say, if you're prone to anxiety when it comes to pressure, this game mode might not be for you, as when a teammate dies, it is all on you to pull out the dub. But this does have the tactical gameplay I mentioned earlier that CoD can do. You can run and gun if you want. Heck, sometimes on certain maps with certain weapons, that might actually be the best choice. But sometimes, waiting, moving slow, hearing for footsteps, an accidental slide, those are what makes the difference between you winning the tournament or leaving empty-handed on round 1. There is also mind games to be played. You start to pick up on patterns with the enemy team, or they pick up on yours. So what do? Do you adapt, change the strategy to mess with them, or stay the same and double bluff? Also, if nobody gets the flag at the end of the time limit, it goes down to how much health you got. So that in and of itself introduces even more strategy that you have to think about. Oh god, I'm damaged, what do I do? Or, haha, I've damaged them, I've got the upper hand now. I love this mode, the off-the-cuff thinking you have to do, how you have to adapt to the constantly changing guns, and also how the maps change each time you win and progress. What's also rad, on top of Gunfight, we have Gunfight Tournament, where you battle your way through brackets to win a variety of rewards. It's nothing fancy, but was a really fun addition. It has some nasty wait times though. I remember it being like 5 minutes in between brackets being formed when it first dropped. It's now been reduced to 2.5 minutes at the time of this recording, but even after that, you gotta wait for everyone to be ready. So there's a lot of waiting when it comes to Gunfight, and that for sure is a massive negative that will always be in this mode. It's just kind of baked in. It's also buggy. I noticed that everyone would ready up, and yet we'd still have to wait for the minute to end. There is so much downtime in this game, man. Like, it says I've played 10 hours in one day, but that's boots on the ground. It's probably been like 13 days if we add up all the waiting time. Let's just say I could have learnt a new language in the time I waited for this game. But what are you gonna do? Back to the video. So, what if you took the exact same small maps, added 2 extra people, respawns, and their own loadouts? You get Face Off. Not that Face Off. A non-stop 5 minutes of carnage. Tons of kills, lots of deaths. Jesus, this is fun. Very useful if you want to go and level up a gun too. There's also a knife fight variant of Gunfight. It's pretty fun actually. Although in one update they removed the tomahawks from your inventory, so it literally is just melee weapons now, which removed even a small bit of strategy and became a sprint and bundle fest. Never did come back to it after that. Such a pointless update. Finally, there's party games. Prop Hunt I only played once, but it was fun. I remember playing it on the map Checkmate, and I actually managed to win by masking as a box. Here's a photo of proof. I'm really proud of this placement. Sticks and Stones is always great fun. It comes from Black Ops 1 if I remember rightly. You've got a ballistic knife, a crossbow, and some tomahawks. Whoever earns the most points from kills wins. However, getting stabbed reduces a kill, and being tomahawked, well, you go back to zilch, nada, bubkiss, nothing.
You get nothing!
I love the constant highs and lows of this game mode and how it's a game mode that most people are just happy to be in the top 3. Gun game, also from Black Ops 1 if I remember rightly, is back too. You start with a gun, get a kill, unlock a new gun. Keep going until you've reached the knife, 20 guns later. Get a kill, you win. Get stabbed, you go back one. I love gun game, man. I miss gun game on Black Ops 1 because of the CoD points. If you haven't played Black Ops 1, there was actually a currency in the game, not microtransactions, that you had to earn. And you could like wager these points. It was really cool. Imagine if they brought back that mechanic nowadays for the newest CoDs, wagering your CoD points. Actually, no, Treyarch, don't do that, no. Oh, there was also a mode called Double Agent, but I never played it, it didn't interest me. Apparently it's like Trouble in Terrorist Town, but I've never played that either. YouTuber card revoked, I know. Oh, there was Stockpile as well. It's like Kill Confirmed, in that people drop tags when they die, but you got to deposit the tags to actually earn points. I never cared for it. And of course there's always Hardcore. If you haven't played CoD before, Hardcore is basically a harder version of Core. I didn't need to explain that to you. There's no HUD, you don't regenerate any health, unless you use a stim shot. The guns are more powerful, or you're just weaker, I don't know, one of the two. And it's definitely a different experience. I play Core more, but I do enjoy Hardcore Hardpoint from time to time, and Hardcore Search, especially if I'm leveling up a new gun. I did that with the Marshall pistol to get that to level 35, as double tapping in Core was just kind of annoying. For fun, here's a tier list of how I feel about all the Cold War game modes. If I forgot about a certain game mode, well then that's my review of the game mode I forgot. Let's discuss the maps, the thing that can make or break a Call of Duty's multiplayer. Iconic maps like Raid, Crash or Rust stick in people's minds for a reason. So, does this game have any maps that could be seen as iconic down the line? Probably not, but let's find out. As for game modes I will be playing on these maps, I normally flex between Hardpoint, Search and Destroy and Domination depending on how I'm feeling. Just a heads up, as certain maps are better with certain modes, so yeah, bear that in mind please. Armada Strike. Very fun on Search and Destroy, not so much on Domination or Hardpoint though. Armada Strike is a smaller version of the map Armada from the Fireteam Modes. It's a very simple map. When spawning on Search you have a few options, most of which involve either going up or down a level, and I personally loved learning this map inside and out, picking up on unique places to stand and learning techniques on how to get the upper hand on an enemy. I felt like a god when I used an enemy shadow to predict when to shoot. Yep. Kind of a gamer move. Domination on this map is not too bad. The ANC flags are pretty dang open, which means you're likely to get pinged from a direction you were not facing, And saying this, my love for Armada mainly comes from the more tactical game modes more than fast-paced ones. Hardpoint for sure is fun, but I felt Team Deathmatch was never really that fun on this map. This is due to its design. It's nothing fancy in terms of Call of Duty map design, but it's just lots of small, close-quarter areas combined into a map. There's 2 deck areas with a bit of space, and an underlayer with the submarine that nobody ever really goes to unless they have to. So perhaps that's a useful strategy to employ in your own gameplay. Same goes for the zip lines in the map. Nobody ever really uses them, so it may give you an advantage in play, except in search. They will hear you coming. But yeah, visually, Armada Strike isn't winning any awards, and when I read online about best and worst maps, this was always pretty damn near the bottom. But I really enjoyed Armada Strike, and still do. Every time Armada Strike comes up for a vote on search, me and my mate both in unison go, Armada! Cartel. What a boring map. With only 3 real places to run to at the start of a match. I get that Armada is visually boring as well, but I personally feel this is next level. Armada at the very least has some zip lines and some water to mix gameplay up, but this is as simple as it gets. Not very fun on Search, Storm, or Hardpoint. It's only really good on Team Deathmatch, I guess. The reason I say that is because this map has a really bad flow. People will just run into the center area most of the time, as it is the area with the most space. But even then, bushes and a slight elevation makes even that area a bit crap to fight on. It's really not my favourite. Checkmate. Checkmate is an interesting one. It's a 3-lane map with many people fighting around the plane here. But because there is so much wide space, it does force certain player types to play in their way. What I mean by this is, snipers and tac rifle users can hang back and actually have a shot at getting some kills. Meanwhile, more rush type players have to take one of the 3 lanes that provide some cover, otherwise they are exposed to said snipers out in the open. I actually don't mind this one. You are checking around your shoulder pretty damn often, I will say, especially when you're in the plane. But overall, I don't mind seeing this one in the rotation. Pretty damn fun on search, and not too bad on domination and hardpoint. Crossroads Strike. A smaller version of the Crossroads map that glitches out nearly every time I play it. Another map glitches too, and I'll mention that map when we get there, but yeah, this map at times is really not fun to play on. The floor and even surfaces around me become extremely low res, pixelated messes, and it is not fun to play on. The actual map, when it works, yeah, it's not bad actually. You have this choice to either head left or right depending on your spawn towards a parked armoured vehicle, run inside the one of 2 buildings in front of you and either meet in the middle or try and take a bridge, which you probably won't win, or go right or left and risk being out in the open. I think it's a rather fun map when the flow is going great. It's a massive shame about the bugs though. Great on domination, not bad on search and hardpoint. Garrison. When I first played this map, I thought it kinda blew, but goddamn, this map has grown on me. It's a 1-lane map, so unlike a 3-lane, where there are 3 definitive open battle areas, this only really has 1, the area where the tanks are, but it's perfectly sized, minus the guff at the back of one of the spawns. Going up, through the middle, through the vent, or through the walkway is always a fun choice to try and make, and overall, I just really enjoy the layout and the design here. Amazing on Search and Destroy, average on domination, as the B flag is where this tank is, and 2 people can just hide behind the tank, meaning B is stuck unless someone flanks, but hardpoint is pretty fun. Miami. Probably the most hated map. It's a wide map with a big, rather empty beach, a street area full of cars, a hotel complete with a pool, you can swim in if you have a death wish, and a variety of buildings. I really did not care for it at launch, and although I don't hate it, I'm not massive on it. I always try and skip it if I could, but I would never quit out of a match to avoid it. It's not bad on Search and Destroy, probably better on faster game modes though like Hardpoint or Team Deathmatch, but since there's lots of areas to run, 6v6 almost doesn't feel like enough players. It probably would be more fun as a combined arms map, so 8v8 or 12v12. Meh, there you go. Moscow. Moscow is a strange one. When I research what people think is the best launch maps, people really like this one. I can see why in theory, spawning in gives a good few options, going to the side snipers love, running through the center for some ranged or close combat encounters, or going around the edge towards the escalators. But for me, it's really basic. I don't get annoyed if it pops up, it's pretty fun on hardpoint, but I always notice games of hardpoint are rarely level. It becomes pretty one-sided rather fast and never really changes, be that winning or losing. Plus, like Crossroads, it's glitchy as hell, even in November of 2021. Footnote, it's now December of 2021, and yeah, it's still glitchy as hell. Like, mate, fix your game, please. But yeah, not a bad map at all, but I don't think it should be topping best map lists. On Search and Destroy, the locations of the bombs are pretty interesting. Ones that allow for multiple ways for you to try and stealth plant, or stealth defuse, or to bundle on to someone who's there on their lonesome. Maybe this map is better than I thought, to be honest. Satellite. How the hell is this topping some CoD map lists? I've grown on it a tad over time, but I do actively skip it, if I can, for a grand majority of the game modes. It's a boring desert with a crashed plane, wide as hell areas that allow for snipers to get their kicks, and not much for other gun users to enjoy. Yep, I really don't care for this map. Nope, moving on. Nuketown 84. It's a Treyarch Call of Duty, so we've got Nuketown, along with a Christmas and Halloween version of both maps. I don't mind Nuketown for fast as hell game modes, but for Search and Destroy, nah, screw Nuketown. But it is a classic for a reason, and I can't hate on it too much. It does have its charm, and I do look forward to seeing it again in 2 to 3 years time. But yeah, 10 maps in total at launch. Well, 9. I think Nuketown came a few weeks afterwards, but 10 maps. Kind of funny saying this when CoD Vanguard is selling itself on its 20 maps, but don't forget, it's quality over quantity in my eyes, and these maps, man, this is a smorgasbord of quality. In my eyes, there's some really low tier maps here, and some pretty damn good ones. But let's talk about the rest of the maps season by season and see what they're like. We'll talk about Fireteam and Gunfight Maps when we're done with the multiplayer maps. Raid. Beginning a theme of bringing back old maps, Raid is back from Black Ops 2, and mate, I feel this is better than ever. Why? Now that's the money making question. I really don't know. Raid is just such a well designed map in my eyes, with enough variety in the map to make me never question where I need to run to if I need to either hide or fight, or flank to get a possible advantage. It's just got a great flow to it in terms of traversal. There are so many ways to get to, say, one end of the map to the other on Search and Destroy to try and defuse a bomb. Meanwhile, it's got a perfect mix of wide areas, tighter areas, and an overall fun design for faster paced game modes too. I actually think this is one of, if not the best maps on Cold War, and maybe Call of Duty overall. Express. Like Raid, Express comes from Black Ops 2, with the main gimmick here being a train will at times, throughout the match, drive down the centre of the map. I don't mind Express. It does help that I think the map's layout looks a bit like a smiley face though. I find Express an odd map to bring back though, and I can't tell you why. Perhaps I have no attachment to Raid and that's why I'm like, yeah, cool, on this map. But it is not a bad map. It's good for Search and Destroy as both points have various locations to hide that aren't easily accessible without making yourself known by either climbing or walking around a corner. Other modes, yeah, it's fine. The Pines. This map was a slow burn for me. To begin with, I was not massive on it, but as time went on, I can kind of see its appeal. I like the idea of fighting in a shopping mall, and it's laid out pretty well in my opinion. I wish there were more interesting stores though, and the name of the shops had actual effort put into them. Shout out to Jim's Donuts, but it's an alright map for search, with the A point being quite a tense area as the bomb location is in a tiny side room, where when you're defending you gotta watch the correct entrance. Meanwhile when attacking you gotta enter with caution, as if someone's watching the door that you walk through, it's game over. Hardpoint, it's pretty fun. Some points are big, some are small, and it keeps the match varied. If you hate snipers though, stick to the sides of this map, as the center of this map is a wide, open space. Later in the game's life, due to so many people not liking Miami, we got Miami Strike, a smaller, daytime version of Miami, and I do believe it to be an improvement. It's got a better flow, and overall, it shows that Miami was built on an alright idea, it just needed to be realised a little bit better and reworked a tad. Apocalypse. The only map from Season 2 for multiplayer, which is fair as Season 1 was stacked with content in my opinion, but Apocalypse is fine. It's a smaller, more aggressive map, which is better for modes like Team Deathmatch, Hardpoint, and Domination. It's a rather bland looking map in my opinion, and I'm never super jazzed when it appears, but I never leave if it pops up. Diesel. Although I will have to mention this again as it is a gunfight map too, you can play 6v6 on this map, so I guess it's a double mention. Good for Diesel. Fast paced game modes. Look at this map size. You really think you're going to have a strategic game of Search and Destroy on this? Capture the Flag is fun on this map actually. That rush of trying to make it across no man's land on the truck side of the map is amazing and might actually be safer than going the other way. It's fine, small and designed so that as soon as you spawn you can start shooting. Standoff. Another Black Ops 2 map. Damn, Treyarch really do be sucking Black Ops 2's taint. And Standoff is a classic for a reason. Fun map design, perfect placement of points for hardpoint and domination to make this game fast paced while having fun points on search to let people like me, who like to take it slow, have a chance. Yes, Standoff bloody rules. Yamantau. I think that's how you say it. I remember doing this map for about 4 hours on the 24/7 playlist when it first dropped. I loved hardpoint on it, and overall, I still like it. I will say, 2 sides of this map only really ever get used. There is a section to the side where you can run on a broken bridge, and either jump into the main building, zipline up, which in my eyes is a death sentence unless there is a teammate there, or continue to run around and see if you can get the drop on the enemy. I would say if you're not doing well on this map, try looping around and getting the drop on someone. So few people go that way, it may actually be worth a shot. It's a visually bland as hell map, but it's got a fun layout and I would never skip this one. Rush. I have no attachment to Rush. I actually couldn't tell you which Call of Duty it's from. Future me put it on screen. It's Black Ops 2, isn't it? Thank you. How are you doing, Future me? I hope you're okay. Yeah, past me, I'm doing alright. This video's taking way longer than I'd like, and I wish I have uploaded all my videos already, but I haven't, so bleh. And also I've been traveling a lot, so I've been editing on a laptop. And I've just done a little ghetto setup here. But yeah, I'm getting there, thank you. But I would say Rush is actually quite visually pleasing. It's funny to me to have a paintball area holding a literal war zone, not that kind. And for faster game modes, this one is great. Damn, I feel I'm saying that way too much. Where's the love for Search and Destroy, Treyarch? It is one of them Twitch reaction maps where you always have to be ready to stop sprinting and start blasting, because there are very few open areas here. Overall, I enjoyed my time with Rush. Hijacked. I never cared for Hijacked. It's iconic for sure, but I was never massive on its map design, and my thoughts stand to this day. Plus, the spawns were always a bit funky in my opinion. People either meet in the middle or meet below deck in a corridor below the entrances. And that's about it. Yeah, probably a hot take, but Hijacked is not my bag. Collateral Strike. Another one of the 12v12 maps getting a shrunk down version. Collateral Strike is yet another visually bland map. We went from snow to sand, oh boy. But Collat Strike is fine. It's not pushing the boundaries, but I have no clear problems with the map, if you catch my drift. It is worrying that the grand majority of DLC maps that are good are old maps, but I will say the 12v12 version does look more visually appealing. Instead of a small desert area, we have a full desert playground. Oh well, I did have fun playing Infected on this map though. Drive-In. The first of 3 flashback maps from this season, I think this was season 5, this one's from Black Ops 3. I never really vibed with this map though. I visually like it, mind. I like the drive-in aesthetic, especially as someone who has never been to one. Saying that, I've also never been inside a warship or been to the Lao Jungle. I have been to Miami though. Anyways, I have only ever played Drive-In on faster paced modes, and overall it's a fine map. I really wish I had more to say, but I don't. Slums. Returning from Black Ops 2, I really enjoy Slums. It's not a visually amazing map, it could be seen as rather bland, but the map flow feels damn near perfect for me, and on hardpoint I always love playing this map. Hell yeah, Slums 24/7 is my bag. Zoo. Rounding out the flashback trilogy of season 5, Zoo is rad as hell. Zoo 24/7 is also my bag. Visually interesting in my eyes, what can I say, zoos are fun. And it's got enough locations with a variety of spaces. Zoo is one of the top tier maps in Call of Duty multiplayer in my eyes, and of course one of the best maps in this game. Echelon. I think this might be the worst map in this game. Visually boring in terms of presentation, a pretty naff map design. I mean, I respect the creative choice to have multiple areas you have to jump to, which can be used to cut through the map, but the flow is pretty dang poor in my opinion, and most people just camp in the satellite room anyways. So yeah, I really didn't like this map. America. The final season is upon us, and we have America, a location I found pretty dang cool in the story mode. I still like how it looks here, and it can be pretty fun on Search and Destroy. The streets are basically a death sentence from my time playing this map, which leaves either the buildings or the roofs of said buildings. I'm not saying I enjoyed this map, but I feel you may, so give it a try and see what you think. Deprogram. Finally, we end with Deprogram, and it's not a bad way to end the 6v6 map cycle. Deprogram in the story, don't ask about the story, I don't know, takes place in someone's mind, thus this cone around the map. It's a basic map on the surface, but it has a pretty cool gimmick. There's a teleport on this map, that of which allows you to teleport to a location you can't get to otherwise on the map. This one gimmick does elevate it in my mind, and it's a pretty well paced map in terms of map design and flow. So yeah, overall, a nice end to the season.
Losing B.
According to some searches on the Poogle machine, Gunfight debuted in Modern Warfare 2019. It's also in Call of Duty Mobile according to a mate, but for this video, it's in Cold War. It was added in Season 1, and it dropped with 4 maps. If you skipped ahead and have no idea what Gunfight is, timestamps are in the description, baby. KGB. It's odd, I hear nothing but bad things from people regarding KGB, the map, not the actual KGB. And not to be a contrarian always, but I really enjoy KGB. You spawn in, and depending on the gun, you could go for a very risky long-range kill, run upstairs, duck into a room to the side, play it slow and inch forward, or you can just, of course, wait at spawn or barrel forward. Do what you want. Because this map is very light, there is little chance you're going to walk past someone and not notice them, which just really helps the gameplay. You can try and blend in, but it's a challenge. Although there's only 2 levels of elevation on this map, the staircase creates a nice dynamic, and although it for sure can get tense, I always feel somewhat confident on KGB personally. I really enjoy this one in the rotation. It could be seen as bland, but since it is well lit and suits a competitive nature well, I'll let it slide. ICBM. Meanwhile, I really don't get on with ICBM. When you're standing in spawn, it's proper hard at times to notice the enemy, I found. Standing on the top bit in the middle is pretty overpowered, and it's an overall boring map, just like KGB, but at least that one was brighter. I can see for sure why someone likes this map, but it is not my bag. This map is also quite anxiety inducing for me. Maybe it's better than I think, but yeah, this is my video, my opinions. U-Bahn. Quite a cool idea. Fighting on an abandoned underground subway tunnel is actually pretty cool, and layout wise, it's as basic as it gets. You got a middle section, the train track, 2 platforms and a couple of trains. And there is nothing wrong with that. I really enjoy U-Bahn. It's always tense on this map for me, but not the bad kind, and there is enough locations to have a round be varied and have a full match as well, not get boring fast. Game Show. Rounding out the original release maps, I really did not like Game Show at the start, but that's probably because it's a tough map in my eyes. You're for sure never safe in Gunfight, but there's pretty much nowhere to hide here. These walls you're standing next to, you can climb over them, and you're gonna find out the hard way. It's hard to put into words, but I feel so uneasy on this map, even in matches where I'm winning. I will say though, visually, as someone who has seen Game Show sets in person, it's pretty cute to see the touches like the dressing rooms and how cheap the set looks. Plus it's called What Do the Numbers Mean, which is, well, just cute. Along with the fact that outside of the map there is a set for a film called Grave Hill, which is the same sign seen in the Black Ops 3 multiplayer map Outlaw, which is a remake of Standoff. So Outlaw is here in spirit. Also, try knifing the wheel on the map. See what happens. Mansion. An extremely basic map. Like, look, it's basically a rectangle. I find that matches are very short on this one, probably because the time before meeting someone is second to none, but I don't really have any more negatives. I like that the center area can be accessed from either the side, through the doors, or from above, meaning that entering the center can be very risky, especially if you have to capture the point at the end of the timer. The spawn too is actually quite a nice location to fight in. I've had both long and short ranged encounters here, and I do think most of my time fighting on this map is either in said courtyards or on the side of the mansion. Diesel. This might be in the multiplayer section, but it's also a gunfight map, and it's pretty high up there in terms of best maps, I'd argue, as it has a variety of combat locations, hiding spots, and places to fall back to. Visibility is not too bad, and I like the idea of this map, a petrol station in the middle of nowhere, where the opening cutscene in 6v6 game modes is you riding in on a motorbike in like a convoy. Like, look at them all. Badass mofos, man, damn. Amsterdam. This map freaking rules. It's a looker, with the background not being covered by mountains, but being surrounded by other buildings, since we are on a rooftop of a building in Amsterdam. I think that was implied. This may sound a bit silly, but there's always a rush on either bombing it forward over the top of the roof. It's risky as hell, but you have the chance to get a quick nifty kill. Or you can walk on the scaffolding around the edge of the map. Be careful how you walk though, as there are cans of paint which sound way louder than they should, and if you knock them over, someone will hear you. And there's also another site to run to, but I don't go there often. Yeah, Amsterdam rules, man. And there's also an Atari 2600 on this map. I just noticed it and thought I'd mention it. Showroom. The best part about Showroom is the escalator in the middle of the map that you can creep up to or run to and hop over to get to the other side. Besides that, it's rather bland. It is well lit though, so it's quite easy to see your enemy, which is good, but I am struggling to say stuff about this one. It's rather mid. Gluboko. This map is literally a slim rectangle with a nipple on the end. It's claustrophobic, intense, and there's next to nowhere to hide. So it's a pretty damn rad gunfight map. I have not played on this map too much, but it's always fun. It's also barbaric on face-off VV3.
Almost there. Hold fast, people. We lost Charlie. Alpha.
And I completely forgot to mention Nuketown 84. I even showed it in some of the footage, I think, before I mentioned the map's names and going deep into detail with them, so Jesus, that was a big oversight. I found Nuketown 84 to be a fine gunfight map. It is a very small map already in general, so gunfight is a perfect mode to have that map with. I wasn't massive on it, I always did enjoy it, but I kind of wish we had another map instead of Nuketown 84, but that's probably me just being an entitled little gamer boy. So, yeah, Nuketown 84, it's not too bad. To be fair, maybe I was just fatigued because I played that map so much already. I don't know. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Back to your scheduled programming. And with all of that out of the way, let's rank all the maps.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
Nope. There's still one more thing I have to mention. Right today, the 3rd of March, 2022, I'm getting so close to finishing this freaking video. They shadow drop, Treyarch that is, a new map. Look at the screen. They brought back WMD from Black Ops 1, which is kind of cool actually. I really enjoy that map. But the question is, why? The year is over. Vanguard is out. Does this mean Vanguard is really doing that bad? I know Treyarch is doing the zombies and that's it, but this is so weird. This brings up so many questions. I know this is just one map, but does that mean more in the future? Does that mean Zombie Chronicles 2 could be a thing? I don't know. I'm questioning life right now. Back to the video. We'll use a list, as this is YouTube, and that means I can add it to the tags, muhahaha, and we can elaborate on any standouts. Ready? Bang, bang. So, in my eyes, there are only 2 A-tier maps from Cold War, both of which don't reinvent the wheel when it comes to Call of Duty multiplayer. And every frickin' S-tier in my eyes is a flashback map. In a way, that summarizes my thoughts with the Call of Duty Cold War multiplayer. I had a great time over the year. I got to rekindle a friendship with a mate I hadn't spoken to properly since school, and I did have a lot of fun. After years of not enjoying Search and Destroy and thinking it was just for people to try and get cool sniper plays, it's actually probably the best game mode in my eyes that ever came to CoD. If you're in the right mood. Sometimes you just want to see your kills go into the double digits and get mad multi-kills. Hardpoint was fun, Kill Confirmed sometimes was fun, but the original modes for Cold War? Nah. I really didn't care much for the new stuff. So perhaps if I played the Modern Warfare 2019 multiplayer, or even played more of Black Ops 4's multiplayer, I would have different opinions. But this is my review, and dang it, I enjoyed Cold War's multiplayer. With nearly a week's worth of playtime, 20 prestiges, 2 prestige masters, my time with the multiplayer of Cold War is done for the most part. But will I be coming back? From time to time, sure, but far down the line, I doubt it. Such is the nature with multiplayer games like this, I guess. As the fan base drops out and the game dies down to only the diehards and modders, I would like to take this time to thank Treyarch for their effort on the Cold War multiplayer. Fireteam still sucks though. After writing that barrage of map reviews, I actually remembered a few of the multiplayer modes, and I didn't want to make that section any bigger, so we'll just call this section in the timestamps the Stragglers, yeah, we'll go with that. Scream Deathmatch came in Season 6. You get to play as Ghostface, and quick note, as I write this segment, Vanguard comes out in a couple of days, so to make sure people actually buy stuff before Cold War stops getting updates and Treyarch is then forced to make zombies for a game that's not wholly theirs, seriously, releasing without an Easter egg quest? How late of a decision was this to bring in Treyarch onto Vanguard? The store is exhibiting all of their licensed guest characters, and it's so mental to see Judge Dredd standing next to the bunny thing from Donnie Darko. I mentioned these guest characters already, but I didn't really comment on them. And screw it, mate. Call of Duty's multiplayer is supposed to be fun. I have got no problem with seeing these crazy characters. I don't get why people are getting so arsey about it. Still not going to pay for any of them though. But yeah, Scream Deathmatch. 2 people spawn in as Ghostface, the killer from the Scream franchise, and you're chasing 6 helpless people, armed with only a flashbang to protect themselves. Once there's only one survivor, you crack out a machete, and then you can actually try and slay the 2 Ghostface. But it's 2v1, and the knife feels faster to use than the machete, so you're not gonna win. And I did win one of the matches by hiding, so there is that. It was a fun novelty for one match, but it did go on a bit too long, and I never did play it again. Infected is back. One person starts as a zombie, like an actual zombie, that's pretty cool. And once you kill someone, they become one, and so on and so forth, until either the timer runs out, or everybody is a member of the George A. Romero fan club. I love Infected. I played this for about 4 hours straight one night. It's so fun. Cranked was like a game mode where once you kill someone, you gotta kill again within 30 seconds or you'll blow up. That's all I remember about it, apart from it being released when Rambo and John McClane were added to Cold War. These are all the limited time events I remember playing, and I do know there were more, but I missed them, so there's my review of them. I missed them. And finally, here are a few notes I have on Cold War's multiplayer that I couldn't fit in anywhere else. Every map has an ammo box located somewhere, an interesting mechanic, as if you're lasting a long time, you don't need to pick up another weapon. You only get one use per life, so it doesn't get overpowered though. And I hope every Call of Duty in the future has an ammo box in each map. I liked being able to use it, it's a good mechanic. You can mark people now, which finally allows me to understand why people love that feature in Battlefield. It's a great way to quickly say, "Oi, he's over there," without you having to quickly peek your microphone to warn your teammate, making them jump, and probably messing them up. Then there's just this awkward silence that persists into the next round. It's a bit uncomfortable now, isn't it? The connection overall was fine. I did get disconnected a few times when playing Gunfight, but what are you gonna do? That happens, I guess. However, there was so much downtime and wasted time that for sure made me feel like I was wasting my life, and I'm already playing a video game, so thanks for that, Activision. Unlocking guns from multiplayer at times was near impossible for me. Certain guns I will probably never actually use, since I have not done their challenges and don't play the game the way the game wants me to unlock them. And also, the zombies challenges sucked too. Prestige keys were an interesting idea, using keys to unlock items and banners. I personally bought a few, including this zombies icon from Black Ops 3 that I never took off after I bought it. I kinda wish they did more with the prestige keys though, but what are you gonna do? It's nice that they're there and you have a reason to prestige, I guess, even if it's kind of minute. I have been playing Call of Duty Zombies since World at War. I still remember beating the campaign and then being rewarded with this extra survival mode. I don't think I can understate how much Zombies means to me. During the World at War and Black Ops 1 days, I would wake up at 5 AM before school to get a match in and always get annoyed when I had to turn it off to, you know, go to school. I find it really funny I used to do this, as now 5 AM is my bedtime. I had a small group of friends where we would rotate weekly whose house we would go to, so we could do LAN play on Black Ops 2 Zombies. I have such a vivid memory of us working out the Mob of the Dead Easter egg, while also reading forum posts with players who were trying to work it out at the same time as us on release day. It was frickin' magical, man. Heck, the reason I got this game was for the zombies. I noticed one of my said old LAN party mates was in a party chat one day on Xbox Live. I swung on in, and we ended up having a game of Black Ops 1 Zombies, like the old days. He and his other mate in the party were trying to get me to buy Cold War, but I said nah due to its price tag, but I'll think about it. Then I got COVID, and bought the game that day. So, how is the Zombies mode? It's pretty good actually. I really enjoyed the past year of Zombies content for the most part. If I may, viewer, I'd really like to gush for a second about the basic systems in this game. This may take a while, but remember there are timestamps below if you want to hear about the maps in the game, and that's it. But there are a few changes here that make the moment-to-moment gameplay really fun and rewarding. Before we even enter the game, we can pick a class with the exact same Crazer class system from multiplayer. Love it. We can earn crystals to make our perks, weapon types, ammo types, and field upgrades more useful. And well, field upgrades! You know, I really should reorder that. These replace whatever was in your slot in Black Ops 4. I think they were called special weapons or specialist weapons, and the powers have an awesome range of uses when fully upgraded, to the point where I would argue each can be useful depending on your playstyle. Frost Blast is my personal least favourite. Within a small range, a burst of ice is shot out, freezing enemies. It can be useful, I guess, but in my eyes, if you're cornered, freezing the zombies in place is kinda just delaying the inevitable, unless you manage to create a gap in that time. Energy Mine sounds like what it is, a mine that shoots out energy.
You don't say!
Killing mofos who dare to be near you when this goes off. These are much better for getting out of a sticky situation, and are useful for basically one-shotting special zombies. Ether Shroud is the one I have on by default, unless there is something I'm planning to do in said game that requires something else. With Ether Shroud, you teleport into what is called the Dark Ether, more on that later, and zombies can't see you. Perfect to run away from a horde or to go and revive a homie. Healing Aura heals your team and can revive them if they're downed once you've upgraded the power. Finally, Ring of Fire buffs the heck out of you and your team when stood inside said ring, allowing you to shoot ammo from your reserves of your gun rather than your magazine. We did get free upgrades post-launch though. Frenzied Guard, Toxic Growth, and Tesla Storm. Frenzied Guard makes the zombies head for you, but they only take damage from your armor, which we will talk about in a moment. Toxic Growth makes trees grow around you, and Tesla Storm makes you a Tesla coil, buffing you and your team around you if they are close. As I said, they all for sure have their uses, and my teammates I played with throughout this game's lifecycle mixed up their styles, but I mainly stuck to Ether Shroud, it just suits my kind of gameplay style. Perks, which are abilities you purchase from soda machines, returned to more of a normal form after Black Ops 4's pick which 4 perks you want before a match thing they did. The problem there was they tried to reduce what is called crutch perks in the community. If you're new to CoD, these are perks that everybody uses, because in the old games you could only have 4 perks as standard, so we normally just went for the best ones. Normally Juggernog, increased health, Speed Cola, increased reload speed, and Stamina, increased sprint speed. And the 4th was whatever you wanted, to be honest. So in this game, Treyarch just said, fine, have them all then. Meaning you can have every perk at once if you want, if you have enough points. Oh, and Jug is back, which was missing from Black Ops 4 since the health got a small increase overall. Nice, it's good to see it back, it's a classic for a reason. So, each perk is worth 2,500 points, which can be earned from repairing window boards or killing zombies, and each perk's price increases by 500 points each time you buy another perk. So by the end, you're paying a hefty amount for your final perk. And what doesn't make this too overpowered in my opinion is if you go down after getting all your perks, unless you're Mr. or Mrs. Moneybags, you're not going to be able to get all your perks back straight away. So you're back on that grind to get them all back. Lastly, before we move on to the core gameplay, what you see when you spawn in, the character and the weapon in your hand. The starter weapon for the longest time was a simple pistol, with the ability to change your starter weapon for the first time coming in CoD World War II if I remember rightly, and then again in Black Ops 4. They were nice rewards for sure, being able to progress from the starter pistol, but Black Ops 4 had its own problems with weapons and spawning which we can talk about another day. But with Cold War, we have a unique approach. You can use anything. Pick your favourite weapon, but it won't help you for too long, since the weapon you spawn in with has a very low tier. What's a tier? We'll get back to that shortly. But being able to pick any gun I want, including a knife, the only golden zombies weapon I have, is so awesome. Plus, it does help with XP for guns if I want to level it up. And also, you play as an operator from multiplayer, and you can pick the character you want to play as. It's, interesting. We'll talk about that later as well when we get to the story. Anyways, after you spawn in, the core gameplay is, in my opinion, the best Call of Duty Zombies has ever been. The UI is definitely a lot more busy now, especially compared to classic Call of Duty's clean nature. Plus, certain maps would have unique HUDs and leaderboard screens. Heck, you could be fooled at a glance when looking from far away that you're playing multiplayer, due to them sharing the same basic HUD. Nothing too negative from me there, it's just a point that came up in my mind when I was writing this script. Not long ago, I mentioned tiers. Well, with the tiered upgrade system, this allows for a longer period of progression. In classic zombies, if you're going to go for high rounds, there comes a point where you are as decked out as you're going to be. And from there, it's all about survival, until you get bored and let a zombie take you down to continue with your actual life, or you make a mistake and are forced to snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. But now, with the amount of time and effort needed to get, say, your starter gun up to Pack-a-Punch tier 3 with an ammo upgrade and legendary tier, this means progression continues with you for a longer period of time as the rounds keep climbing up. Speaking of Pack-a-Punch, it is so much more simple now compared to Black Ops 4. And now you can buy any ammo upgrade you want. Love it. In Black Ops 4, to get your gun to max power, you had to run it through I think 5 times, it was really weird. And also, the ammo upgrade you were given was random, so I would, at times, just waste money trying to get the ammo upgrade I wanted.
This is the most obnoxious thing I've ever experienced in my life.
The positives don't end there though. With the new crafting benches and items you can build with common and rare salvage, instead of doing little side quests to build them like shields. You can now craft special items like combat bows, sentry turrets, and even a chopper gunner. And you can earn the ability to build this stuff by killing zombies and picking up the rare salvage they drop. They also drop common salvage, which can be used to craft items such as grenades and healing items, such as stim shots. Now, in case old CoD Zombies fans are like, well, the crafting tables were used for story items. That still does happen. For example, here on Mara de Toten, the third map, here you can see me crafting something for the story mode. Notice how it's a little bit different to this crafting bench here. So it's a small change, not a very confusing one, but I thought I'd better explain it in case some old CoD Zombies fans kind of misinterpreted what I said. Just clearing that up, thank you. We're not even done yet. There is also armor now in zombies, which means you can tank even more hits. Never remove this, please. And with all these new additions to the core gameplay, you can keep earning stuff until you exfil. What did I say? Exfil. Well, in a move that took this bloody long, when you are done with your game and you're not doing the Easter egg quest, every 5 rounds after round 10, you're able to start an exfil. What happens is you are forced to rush to a location and take down a certain amount of zombies in a short period of time. If you do it, a helicopter will come down and take you back home to your wife, husband, cat, dog, or Xbox that is waiting for you back home. I got that first take. Not only that, you get extra XP for exfilling at, say, round 20, instead of going down at round 20. So simple, I love it. If this feature is ever taken out of a zombies mode ever again, I think I will lose some brain cells, as that would be one of the dumbest things I have ever seen in my life. Finally, before we jump into maps and modes, I wanted to discuss the story. But before that, unlike every Call of Duty survival mode ever apart from Extinction, and I guess the survival modes from Modern Warfare 3, I don't know about Modern Warfare 2019, you're playing as characters not really that key to the story. You're playing as an operator, somebody you can play as in the multiplayer mode. They do speak, but only quips like, "Haha, I killed you," or "This weapon is more powerful now." They sadly never really react to what's going on, and since they don't really talk, the story in these modes are told from people on mics. I never really connected with anybody I heard over the mic, and with my character not talking, I had nothing really to connect with like I did with Primus, for example. I never really felt like I had an impact to what was going on when I did stuff, despite the fact I was the one doing said stuff. And overall, although I did all the Easter eggs for the round-based maps, I can't really tell you what was going on story-wise. But whatever, there is 100% a video out there that would. My USP with this video is to talk about my experience as a Call of Duty Zombies fan since day one. I have no problem at all playing as the multiplayer characters in Zombies. In a way, it allows for you to be even more connected with your operator of choice, as you've not only fought wars with them online, but survived hordes of the undead. I just feel it hinders the story, something Treyarch has leaned hard into over the years. On the flip side to that, having the story be the way it is makes it even easier for casuals to jump in. So who am I to judge? I'm not really sure how to lead into the zombies chat, so I would like to say a quote that my mate Josh said when we were doing the Forsaken Easter egg. Yo, look at Max's. You remember early zombies when she was a kid and shit? And here she is now, shooting lasers at, like, this monster. Madness, innit? Maschine. Launch maps are a tough thing to do. How do you welcome new players into zombies, not overwhelming them into the systems of zombies, while giving long-time fans and experienced players a challenge, along with an interesting experience? Maschine is probably one of the better launch maps in Call of Duty Zombies history, second only to Kino der Toten. Man, that map is gaming royalty. The map's opening strings you along really well, from the spawn room to the crashed airplane, where you pass by what will eventually be a revamped Wunderfizz machine, to the underground silo, down where you can build Pack-a-Punch. Being told what to do for sure helps, but with the map's design, I didn't really need any hints. I did when it came to the ether though. So, in CoD Zombies, there is a parallel world called the Dark Ether, and in there you can do objectives which you can't do in the real world, like finding the Pack-a-Punch shell, and other things which we can discuss when we talk about the Easter egg. Visually, the Dark Ether looks rather damn beautiful actually, with an iridescent colour palette to contrast with the mechanical underbelly of Nukt and the snowy landscape above ground. Oh yeah, this map would also help welcome old fans back, as it is an expansion of Nukt and Toten, the first Call of Duty Zombies map ever. Enemy wise, you got your normal zombos, these heavy zombos that have armor on them which absorbs a bit of damage before you break it, plague hounds, which replace the more common hellhounds found in other zombie modes, but now they leave Nova 6 gas behind, like those bastards from Kino. And finally, the Megaton. Can't lie, I like these guys. Except when I exfil, more on that later. But these guys on a first glance look pretty dang scary to fight, and when you first kill one and see it split, flippin' heck. Actually, nah, let's talk about the exfilling now. So when you exfil, as said, you gotta clear a path and jump on a helicopter to safety. But the Megatons have other plans. I have gotten it down to a science now on how to exfil, chopper gunner, split the Megaton, run and grab a death machine, and re-welcome them to the afterlife. But flippin' heck, for a little bit, these Megatons cost me a few exfil XP bonuses. This is because when you split them, they are invulnerable for a bit, so they just waste your time. And when I normally exfil, in the 50+ rounds, your normal guns do jack all. So please, when you exfil in co-op, have one of your teammates mark the Megatons to target them with the chopper gunner. And if you're on solo, do as I did. Oh, and maybe have the wonder weapon as a backup. Ah yes, the wonder weapon. Next to the returning ray gun, or as I call it, Ray, we have the new Die Shockwave, which is a rather rad wonder weapon in my eyes. It allows you to sap energy from your enemies, allowing you, in theory, to do infinite damage, as long as you got the time. Along with the Shockwave variant, there's also a Fire, Ice, Nova 6 Gas, and Electric version too, all of which are unlockable by doing small tasks. But if you wish to do the main Easter egg quest of this map, you'll be using them all once anyways, as it's kind of mandatory to get all these separate firing types. To rank them from best to worst in my eyes, it goes Nova Gas, Shockwave, Fire, Ice, Electric. The mini quest to unlock the die weapon, by the way, is super simple. Like, once you know how to do it, you may as well get it every time due to how easy it is. The main Easter egg itself, yeah, it wasn't too hard. We did it in around 90 minutes, me and a friend, although we had some bugs during it, but that's fine. The story we didn't pay too much attention to. This dude has a lovely smile, the boss fight was frantic but fun, and the exfil process... Alright, we did this in October of 2021, 11 months after this game's original release, and I crashed. Or should I say, we crashed. Me, who is in Scotland, and my mate, who's back home in England, crashed when attempting to exfil. I cannot recreate how loud and annoyed I was, but my girlfriend had to come and check on me. as she thought something bad had happened. When she found out it was just a video game, I think she wanted to leave me for a split second. So yeah, I enjoyed the Easter egg quest for Maschine in the moment. Trying out all the versions of the die gun was pretty damn cool, and I do enjoy a good zombies boss battle. But the fact a bug like this still exists makes me very hesitant to ever try this Easter egg ever again. But on a more light note, there's also this hidden Easter egg quest where you can go and find the dancing zombies, which is a reference to that dancing coffin meme, and afterwards it gives you a little box which can give you a free perk. That's kind of cute. The first time I saw that made me smile. And before my final thoughts, here's a nice little rambling of notes I could think of about this map. There are ammo boxes now, like in multiplayer, which is pretty damn game changing in the fact that you don't have to drop a gun you like if you don't have ammo, and don't want to wait for a max ammo. Speaking of max ammo actually, Carpenter, the drop which used to just repair windows, is now a bit more useful, as now it replenishes your armor as well. That's pretty damn cool. Wunderfizz appears after a bit of time, which rules. Convenience is always appreciated by me. If you go down and want to quickly grab back a few perks, it just saves so much time compared to running around. Exfilling on this map is probably the hardest out of the lot due to the megatons. And finally, Maschine. It's a pretty damn good launch map. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it's not average. I would give it an 8, I guess, if I had to give it a number, and I really thought this got me ready for the year to come. And Treyarch, well done. You did well this time. Dead Ops Arcade Free. I guess it is worth mentioning this, as it is sold as part of the zombies content for Cold War, even if it's not what many people think of when they say Call of Duty Zombies. Apart from all the threads in the audience, y'all are just built different. Dead Ops Arcade was a wicked novelty that was spread around the playground. Not only did you have to get out of the chair in the Black Ops 1 menu screen by mashing the triggers, but you also had to go and find a computer and type in DOA into it to unlock Dead Ops Arcade. I am sure nowadays you can just play it from the menu, and this is the case with Dead Ops Arcade Free. And it's fine. I do enjoy me some top-down shooters, mind. Smash TV was my jam when I was a bambino, Assault Heroes was Xbox Live Arcade royalty in the early days of XBLA, and Dead Ops Arcade Free, for sure, is a high-quality top-down shooter. But after 2 sessions, I was done. It's a fun novelty once, but it starts to drag real fast, and although there are some aspects to it that I find quite unique, it does not do much for me. It is not bad, just not what I am here for, and I will not be coming back to this ever again. I am very grateful that you can uninstall individual things now, along with the campaign. This is not on my Xbox hard drive, and I doubt it ever will be again. Jingle Hells. I barely remember this. It was Maschine, but everything had a Christmas skin on it. There were presents, something that happens during the Halloween event later on, but just with pumpkins, and there was a Santa that flew over at the start of the match. Meh. Firebase Z. Yo, before we even begin, I felt so dirty that Maxis as a playable character was not a reward for finishing this main quest. No cap, this might be controversial. This is my favourite map. At the very least, I spent the most time on this map. Maybe it's the map design, with the helicopter area being a fun area to train in, a much easier exfil section due to there being no megatons to split and waste your time with, a fun wonder weapon, boss rounds, and more. Firebase Z starts in a separate small area, away from the main map, where you fight in a tight, compact area where you can get quickly overran if you're not on your toes. It is for sure doable to survive here. I did for round after round on solo, but training here comes with a risk. You see, the spawn is the one-stop shop for everything you would want. A crafting table, an armor section, pack-a-punch, and a Wunderfizz machine. All of which, bar the crafting table, can be accessed once you turn on the power. This means people who want to go on a shopping spree have to come down here, ruin your train, possibly get trapped if not careful and thoughtful enough. So, I believe this area is an amazingly well designed section, but an area that should be tackled with care, especially when stuff gets hectic. I couldn't find another time to fit this in naturally, so it's just going in here now. In Cold War, you have to hold X, or square on PlayStation, to pick stuff up, and it takes a second or two to pick stuff up now. So when you see, for example, some armor on the ground or a nice grenade, and you want to make a risky play while training some zombies in an area like this, it's more of a pain than in the past to pick stuff up. I just wanted to mention that tiny change as it made me have to alter my playstyle quite a bit. From this area, we can teleport into a section I became very familiar with, that of which has 3 gates which branch off into 3 other main sections of the map. You see, the power in this map is not just a switch. By the way, the power, if I didn't mention last time on the Maschine, I don't know if I did, you flip that on and items such as perk machines in the past and other doodads like doors would open, allowing for more free range of the map. In this map, you have to activate and power 3 separate points. You go up to it, turn it on, and zombies start to attack it. Kill enough of them before they damage it enough to break it, and you've turned a point on. Do it 2 more times, and the power is on. I will say, this idea was cute the first time I did it, but at this point, after all my hours of play, setting up on this map due to this step is a bit more of a process than I would like, and it is not a fun one. It's a necessary evil due to the map's fundamental design, which we'll discuss shortly, but I just wanted to say that. From here, a basic match of Firebase Z can truly begin. In terms of locations and styles of play, this map has got its all. Places to camp and fight it out, enough of a good map flow for running gunners to keep moving and be happy, and, what I like to do, train in small areas and keep the zombies at arm's reach as I blast them away back to wherever they came from. My location of choice, if I could decide where in a match, was at the crashed helicopter. If I was going for high rounds, I would open up only 2 or sometimes only 1 of these 3 doors to control where the zombies came from. But I only really ever do that if I'm feeling saucy and want to go for some high rounds. Once you hit a certain round after turning on the power, you'll be hit with a timer and... I muted my PC! Why? Why are you making noises? Fuck. Listen to me. Mute. I'm gonna change the fucking audio point as well. Fuck's sake. Once you hit a certain round after turning on the power, you'll be hit with a timer and a marker for a location, one of 3 defense areas. From there, zombies start to pour in, which grow in power and strength as the match goes on. These assault rounds are a nice change of pace for the flow of the match. Even if you're going for high rounds, you have to prepare for the fact that every 5 rounds after the first time, you have to defend a point. The point in question being a machine which is connected to the power source you turned on at the start of the match. If you succeed on an assault round, you get a few drops and a pat on the back. You fail, you have to recharge the power. It's not a massive penalty for sure, but power is now gone, meaning certain things cannot be accessed, such as the Wonder Fizz machine back at spawn. But saying that, turning it back on even in the higher rounds is not that much of a hassle, so what are you gonna do? However, after 2 assault rounds, this hunk of flesh and God knows what descends from the sky. I remember when what's known as Order came crashing down for the first time. It caught me and my friends off guard because we never actually noticed that the Order was actually teased in map 1, which is a nifty fact. The Order is actually a bit of a pushover if you plan it right though. Get a high tiered non-wonder weapon gun and rip into that mofo. The Reike, which is the wonder weapon of this map, is actually a bit ass at killing him. Funnily though, I'd learned his true weakness when I finally fought him in Outbreak, that being the die weapon. It tears him a new one. Me and my mate went full Ghostbusters on his ass and just circled him as we sapped his life away. Anyways, the Order adds a nice bit of variety to the assault rounds and complements the other 2 enemies of Firebase Z rather well. The Mimics and the Manglers. The Manglers were actually from Black Ops 3, but the map they come from is as hazy in my memory as my trip to the loo this morning, so they're new to me. They're these big ass dudes with an arm cannon, loads of armor, and a hook arm that he loves to swing at you with. The Manglers out of all special enemies are probably the easiest to fight. They're never really a threat in my mind, and I never really fear for my life when they spawn. Their ranged attack is never really a nuisance to me, sometimes even helping by knocking zombos over. And he's really only ever a threat when you piss him off and he comes barreling towards you, like a grandmother who hears their grandson is hungry, or like this dude from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Take your pick. The Mimics, meanwhile, screw them. These guys can take the form of anything, from rather obvious you are a mimic spawns, like special drops like chopper gunners and cruise missiles on the floor, to things like random items like chairs around the map, to crates in Outbreak, which is proper annoying, and in some super duper duper rare cases, even perk machines. These guys chase you with haste, and their main attack that will cause you to wake up with cold sweats in the night is the ability to grab you from afar, break your personal boundaries, nibble you before throwing you back out like he never loved you to begin with. It's annoying when you have Juggernog and some armor, but when you're naked and perkless, this nibble is setting you up to go down in one hit, depending on the round. The Mimic is basically the enemies from Prey mixed in with the ability to politely ask you to get over here like Scorpion. And I really like this idea. I like the Mimic, yeah, he's cool. So, from my research, the dye weapon from map 1 has a mixed response online, with myself rather liking the weapon. I also found out nearly everyone agrees that the Ray K AC4 is freaking awesome. It may just look like an assault rifle with some fancy things on it and... shut up, but it's a fantastic weapon. Pretty dang powerful for a good while, a good amount of ammo, a nice punch to each shot, and a very useful alternate fire if you use it right. The alternate fire shoots this orb, which the Narutard in me thinks it looks like a red planetary Rasengan. This slows down and damages enemies when they come into contact with it. But if you shoot it a bit, give it a little bit of love, and the mofo blows up for massive damage. Not only that, but the orb can go through walls and geometry. So if you play it smart, you can get some pretty tasty ass plays with the Ray K AC4. Yeah, the Ray K rules. I do know there's an Easter egg quest, like normal, to get this wonder weapon, but I have never actually done it. I normally have quite good luck with the trials, which are located at the helicopter, and have never had to craft it. Oh yeah, the trials, I didn't mention the 1D Maschine, so I'd better now. So with the trials, you go to a Maschine and pay a fee, and the Maschine will then give you a challenge to do, like kill zombies with headshots, stand in an area and survive, that kind of stuff. The thing is, on map 1, the location is rather terrible, and I never really used it as trying to use it mid-round is a death sentence. So, Firebase Z actually having a nice location allowed me to actually use the trial machine this time and get some nice tasty rewards. See, now that I'm watching gameplay back and with a little bit of hindsight, I can see why some people see this map as rather mid. It's very basic in its nature, a spawn area, a central hub, and 3 paths that branch off. But I didn't mind that to begin with. It allowed me to quickly learn where to go and the best routes to take. All that's left for me to really talk about is the Easter egg. And from memory, it was a fun time, but again, in retrospect, I probably will never ever do it again. One of the first steps involved capturing mimics to try and harvest their memories, but the thing is, you have to get them from an exact location, and it has to be a certain mimic. Grab the wrong one, and it won't work. Oh, and don't shoot it in the head, I am told it scrambles their memory. This step was so bugged for me at launch, and I had to restart a bunch of times for it to work. The step involving a satellite was cool, having to use a computer is always nifty in zombies, but overall it was just a fine quest now that I look back on it. I remember having fond memories of this map, but I think now that I have had more maps to chew on with Cold War, this one feels rather lacking. There was a nifty mini Easter egg involving a bunny in spawn. Stare at it a few times and it will take you to a dark jungle, where the only light source is in the distance. Shoot a few of these light sources and you'll get a chest, which normally drops you a free perk. Pretty cool. So yeah, Firebase Z in my opinion is a fun survival map, one to go and do high rounds on, with an alright Easter egg that finishes with a very disappointing boss fight, and a really annoying step. That of which was the reason I never want to do it again. Cranked 2. I forgot what Cranked 2 actually was. I'm gonna go and play it quickly and then I'll say what it is and what I think of it. You got 30 seconds to kill zombies, they get stronger like normal, and the timer per kill goes down over time. You hit 0, you die. Yeah. Outbreak. Outbreak was a cool idea on paper, but felt rather aimless and, well, dead. It's weird seeing orders just roaming the street. I really don't enjoy the dead air between action and objectives. Almost knowing this, in each battle pass there were music packs that basically play the chorus of said song, and in my eyes, they peaked at the start with Hip Hop Mix 1. Outbreak is a game mode where you're given objectives in maps normally seen in the Fireteam Modes, like finding and defending a reactor, driving stuff, or escorting stuff. But it has so much dead space and time where you wished you had stamina. But those were my thoughts at launch, so let's go and play it now and I'll tell you what I think. Oh, I've done this joke already. Jokes aside, I literally stopped writing this section to go and play it again to have my thoughts fresh. And F me man, Outbreak is just not for me. My point still stands to a degree. Travelling did feel faster now, probably as there are more options than when Outbreak first hit the scene. On top of vehicles and the stamina up perk, we now got PhD Slider, which when upgraded allows you to slide pretty dang fast and far for a short period of time. Plus the grapple hook when used right means you can get around pretty fast. Plus there are jump pads I did forget about, so scratch that point to a degree. I still stand by the fact that in my opinion the maps are really boring, with the standout being Zoo, but even then it's only interesting in small sections. These side objectives are still pretty bland, with the worst being this floating orb section you have to do. I hated this feature in a future Easter egg quest and I hate it here too. Although here it is a bit easier, as you have more room to run around and avoid playing kiss chase with the zombies. There's an objective where you kill zombies in a small place to feed a hellhound, that's whatever. Fighting an order can be quite rad until I worked out if you go all Ghostbusters on his ass and suck him up with a die wonder weapon, the mofo goes down so fast. There's this treasure hunt crystal thing where you gotta shoot crystals in a time frame, but having the death perception perk makes it pitifully easy. There's an escort mission with a rover which is arse, a challenge that spawns in enemies and you kill them, whatever. One where you get teleported to a location and you got to survive there. That's not too bad. There may be more, but I am forgetting them. Although they are bland for the most part, doing them is worthwhile, as it is the best way to get loot and upgrades to weapons, which then makes the main section tasks easier. These range in quality too, like delivering and defending something, finding and delivering something, escorting something, or powering something up. Some can be fun. This defend the point section of Collateral I did was quite fun and a good challenge while also being tense. So yeah, after going back to Outbreak, I am still not a fan, but I was not as negative as I was the first time I tried it. It for sure has its fans, and I am really not one of them, but no hate in any way whatsoever if you vibe with it. Outbreak also has 2 Easter egg quests. I did not do them. Yeah, after the Maschine thing, I was really scared of doing Easter eggs again. Plus, I watched them and they didn't look very fun. The second one is very easy, so that's something. But Outbreak really did not do much for me. I'm sorry. Yo, update as of like 2 months after writing this section. I jumped back into a match with a mate and I actually casually stumbled upon the second much easier Easter egg. Yeah, really. We did the first part involving the crashed plane, found this orb you gotta shoot, shot the orb a bit, and then, yeah, a 2-hour game down the drain. The internet was perfectly fine, it was on Treyarch's end. What a waste of 2 hours. Mauer de Toten. Mauer has a very different vibe to the rest, not only being set at night, but in its level design. It's a map with a sense of height. You'll constantly be scaling up, down and across buildings along with going underground. Although I did not go back to this match very much in my time playing Cold War, and when I went and did all the Easter eggs, I did this one at the very end. But Mauer is a good map. Unlike the other maps, this required a bit of extra know-how to learn the correct paths to take on the map. To start with, I just chose to train around Pack-a-Punch, but as I learnt the map more and more, I got more comfortable enough to run around, shoot zombos, and feel safe. Visually, I found the map fine. I like the nighttime aesthetic, but it doesn't really have any features to it that ever had me stopping and appreciating the map design. Alright, hold up, stop the press. I played this map again before finishing this section, and what the hell was I smoking? I still agree that visually, i.e. graphically, it is fine. The neon lights at night are nice, but the map itself is extremely varied in locations to fight in. I would argue it's tied with Forsaken, the next map, when it comes to variety of locations to fight in. In some ways, I prefer the variety of locations to fight in this map versus Forsaken. Key ones come to mind like the Pack-a-Punch area, but there's also the railway, where you could also use the train to your advantage if you were smart, various rooftops with escape routes via zip lines, multiple apartments where you could train if you're on your toes, and the streets. That's not a bad place to fight too. The addition of zip lines really helps the flow of the map. If it all gets a bit too much where you're standing, you can just zip line away a lot of the time. So yeah, map design and location variety is mad good on this map. I don't know what I was thinking. I will say, the Easter egg was not that fun. I did have multiple glitches such as the first fuse needed to turn on the power not being able to be picked up, and the ID card on the train step just not spawning. But the actual fight itself was a toughie. Legit, I found it hard. A thirst for Cold War. At the time of writing, I haven't actually beaten it yet, so future me, probably in 2022 at this point. Have I beaten the boss yet? Yeah, I did, but it was touch and go for a bit. As the final part of the boss fight, right, I was teleported to a void, and all I could do was watch my teammates do it without me, constantly going down, but then just pulling through. After that section, I was brought back, but I couldn't actually fight, and I had no HUD. But I could revive people, so I just kept reviving my teammates, and we beat it. This game, man, I swear. Continuing the Easter egg and quest talks, the Bunny nightclub Easter egg is pretty fun. I still haven't opened the right door though. Oh, for God's sake. The free wonder weapon quest is pretty interesting, and from memory, there's a cool little quest about shooting targets far away from spawn to get an ether tool. There's probably more, but I can't think of them at the top of my head. For new weapons, we get the wonder weapon and its variations. It is badass. You start out with a laser weapon with a floating orb that rotates around the weapon, and the little orb shoots with you. From there, you can pick up more versions of the gun as you kill people with said gun. Wait, I mean zombies. Don't kill people, please.
You shouldn't take guns to school with you, they're dangerous.
Guns are dangerous?
What?
The variations of the wonder weapon, the CRBRS is its name by the way, all have their uses, such as the laser beam being needed for an Easter egg quest step, and is fine for special zombies, this homing missile version that rips armor to shreds, and this crossbow version which, mate, it's useless. The base version of this weapon, in my opinion, is probably the best. And when you do have a variation of the wonder weapon and you run out of ammo, you just go back to the base version. It's like the game itself is saying, mate, what are you doing? Get rid of that shit, man. But it is worth trying each version of the gun, solely for the reason that each version has a voice that talks. It's quite nifty to hear the voice lines, and the people who are talking are actually the people that were talking to you in Maschine and Firebase Z over the microphone. It's quite funny, right, because they showed more character here than the other two maps combined.
It's a micro-missile launcher, or as I call it, American mode.
You're not firing me. Was it something I said? Please mind the gap in your face!
Speaking of voices, we have Klaus, the robot helper you can call in who had a line that caught me off guard so much I paused the first time I heard it and had a good bloody laugh. Actually, now that I researched and saw some clips for the section, I think this map has the most character to it compared to every other map in the game. If I may, I'd like to highlight real some of Klaus's best lines that I could find.
Does anyone else feel a drop? I am not sure.
I have no skin. I feel depressed. None of you know how that feels. If I had a bedroom, I would go sit in it. Alone. It is like taking candy from a baby. Eating the candy, laughing while it cries.
I could just keep playing Klaus clips, but I recommend searching for a compilation. He showed more character in this map than all of the operators put together throughout the whole season of content. I should explain who Klaus is though, shouldn't I? Klaus can be called in for 2,000 points, and his job, on top of being a massive legend and carrying this map on his back, is to be a robotic doom guy and rip and tear his way through the zombos in his path. You're able to upgrade him multiple times, making him more powerful and useful as the rounds go on, and he's a welcome addition to the map. I never really call him out when I go for high rounds, which in retrospect is a bit silly. Why not have more people on the battlefield for zombies to look at? But if you want a bit of variety and add a bit of chaos to the battlefield, having a fully upgraded Klaus is pretty fun. You do have to upgrade him once to do the main Easter egg quest though. If you are doing that, be sure to handle that in the early rounds and take some big boy guns in there. or some explosives, as it gets mad in that small room pretty damn fast. It reminds me of Black Friday when I see this stuff. All these zombies rushing towards poor Klaus. What did he do to them?
I cannot remember the last time I caused so much bloodshed. Wait. Actually, I do.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Overall, Mauer Toten got better for me the more I played it. Perhaps because when it launched, I did not play it too much, but Mauer is once again another map not to be missed if you call yourself a zombies fan. The story still means nothing to me, but you know what? Who cares? This map is awesome. Forsaken. Forsaken finishes the trend I noticed regarding Cold War zombies, reusing assets. Is this a bad thing? Nah, not really. But I just noticed when looking back at this script that Maschine uses Nakdar and Toten as a basis, Firebase Z used assets from the Vietnam levels of the story, Mauer Toten the Berlin levels from the story, and now Forsaken is using that any town setting from the story. It's not a bad thing, let me reiterate that. Making a video game is tough as heck, and if you have a basis to work on versus starting fresh, go for it. I just wanted to mention it. Forsaken is split up into 4 main areas. You've got a spawn room here at the entrance to this rather ominous and spoopy building, this main town area called Anytown, which is pretty damn fun to train in, a street, and this inside area which you need to access to lift the lockdown.
That was easy.
You can access each area through a teleporter. I don't mind this, but I can see what some people are saying regarding this choice, as it can ruin the flow of gameplay a bit, but I would also counter that argument with it is pretty good for a team of 3 or 4 to train in separate areas, so that the zombies are spread out a bit better. I would not advise training in the spawn location though. The frame rate even on Series X is ass here. Like, using a chopper gunner here made me think I was going to crash the game. It's gotta be the rain effects, man. What is it with modern games and rain? Story is more upfront in this map than any other, as in the room that you lift lockdown in, you have a button that pretty much gets the Easter egg going. Don't ask what's going on, I don't know, but I appreciate that there is literally a button to start the story of this map if you're going for it. Since we are talking about it, the Easter egg. In typical fashion, you need the wonder weapon for it, and a good portion of the 2-hour game I did the Easter egg on was spent trying to get the wonder weapon through various means. Which, by the way, is one of the best wonder weapons in Call of Duty history in my opinion. I see wonder weapons as weapons that are either otherworldly or contain otherworldly powers. So the Ray, although it may look rather cheap when it has good lighting, this mofo can shoot frickin' laser beams. The Apothecon Servant, otherworldly as hell. And the Chrysalax? Look at this! It's an axe that can turn into a submachine gun, and it also looks like it's made out of dark ether crystals which can also be bloody thrown! This weapon is frickin' rad beyond belief. Back to the main Easter egg quest, there are some finicky steps, like getting this enemy, more on him later, to knock off this stupid satellite, and can we get a massive f*** you to this damn step where you have to shoot the floating orbs? Why did they add you to flippin' Outbreak as an objective? It is plain not fun. In fact, it is anti-fun. Fun was taken away from me and it won't give my fun back. But overall, it was an average Easter egg. However, I really did enjoy the final few sections. Escorting this drone who protects you in a small dome, and you got to venture out of said dome to grab fuel to power it to the end. And as for the boss fight, I enjoyed it. Nothing out of this world, and not as tough as the Mauer boss fight, but it was no pushover like the Order in Firebase Z. Where Forsaken shined for me was in its mini Easter eggs. They are rather diverse and unique. So there's an arcade in Forsaken, and inside there are a few arcade machines you can interact with. There's a machine where if you shock a zombie next to it, it allows you to buy RCXDs from it, needed for an Easter egg step. There's a machine called Call of Duty World at War, and there's a machine called Der Eisendrache. The latter two can be accessed by either buying an arcade token for how much? Or preferably off a zombie's corpse. The World at War machine spawns you at Nakdar and Toten, where you have to survive 3 waves of zombos to earn crates that escalate in rarity. I recommend doing this one early to earn yourself some salvage and points to get stronger faster. Meanwhile, Der Eisendrache is a hold your ground challenge, where inside a ring of fire you gotta kill zombies to feed a dragon. Feed him enough and he'll bugger off into the sky, leaving a chest that scales on rarity depending on how many zombies you fed him. I would say do this one a bit later, like in the mid-10s, as you will need some alright gear or your field upgrade to take down enough zombos to earn a good chest. Or you can just do what I did and enter with a melee weapon, that works too. I love this arcade, man. It's such a cool idea. There's a mini quest that requires an RCXD where you go through like an obstacle course to earn some points. Not bad, not bad. A funny pizza delivery mini quest from this douchebag. Sometimes he gives you a ray gun, sometimes he gives you jackal. Feel free to kill him if he screws you over. Plus, there are 2 more I did not know about and had to look up online for what they actually were. There's a perkaholic quest, which means you get all perks given to you. A few ether tool quests that upgrade the rarity of your gun. A damn Grand Prix, that one looks sick. The bunny quest, and of course, the free wonder weapon quest. I like that as the maps progressed, we got more and more side stuff to do. Like in D Maschine, we got Jackal, Firebase Z had the bunny, Mauer has a few things going for it, and now Forsaken has quite a lot of stuff to do. And that's proper sick in my eyes. I love these mini side quests. I hope they stick around in the future. An interesting addition was implemented in this map and then added into the other round-based maps, where you can anger the zombies and have them all be sprinter zombies, making them come at you a lot faster and hit harder. This effect goes on for 20 rounds, and after that it goes back to normal. A strange addition, but when you think about it, getting to round 21 faster than normal when you're trying to go for high rounds, yeah, that just makes sense. I like this addition. Please keep it from now on. I have talked a lot about things in the map, but how is it to play? It's not too bad actually. I mentioned the flow problem that you may have, but visually I don't mind this map. Sure, it's a lot of reused assets, but it was fun to explore and learn this map the first few go-rounds. From there, I kinda just picked an area and held out there once I had done all the Easter eggs I knew about and the main quest. The design of the map is not much to write home about, especially when you teleport into this area, the one with Wonder Fizz, I forget the name. The only other real point I have regarding gameplay is the enemies. We get the Margwas back from Black Ops 3, kinda with the Abominations. This 3-headed mofo has a pretty cool reveal the first time you fight him. To kill him with ease, aim for the heads when they open their gobs. Unlike the Margwas though, you can still damage them while their mouths are closed. You just can't damage them that much. The Crystal Axe though, tears him apart. Just throw the axe at him and he's gone. But yeah, the Abominations, they're a pretty cool addition to the map. The thing is though, pretty much every enemy is here. So you can have a Mangler trying to pop you from afar, while a Mimic grabs you for a snack, while also having a Tempest try and zap you while Disciples are powering up zombies, and on top of all that, the Abomination is just barreling through them all to get to you. Like, look at these enemies you can have. All of these are spawnable, minus the Forsaken who is the boss. Flipping hell. I ain't kidding when I say this stuff can get hectic later on. I haven't turned on the Rampage Inducer since it was patched to round 55, but Lord help you if you try it. Overall, I liked my time with Forsaken. It's a great map, but I don't see myself coming back to it very much at all in the future, as within the week of release, I played it for about 15 hours and rinsed that mofo dry for all I could. Don't miss this one though, it's a great experience, and I did not experience a single bug, apart from at launch where taking a teleporter could literally kill you sometimes. Yeah, that was a joke. Hallows Eve. For some reason, even in private, I had to go through a lobby process. At least I got to pick where I spawn. Anyways, a simple but meh concept where you spawn in on an outbreak map, survive for 10 minutes as the enemies get stronger and stronger, and then exfil. I only played this twice, and that was because I failed the first time because I didn't realise how strong the zombies actually get. I did it right by calling in a chopper gunner, but like in D Maschine, a bloody megaton was there, and they are ball aches to kill during an exfil. For a time right, every time I failed an exfil it was because of those megatons, but I didn't realise you could leave the exfil zone to grab stuff during the timer. I thought you were stuck there, but still, screw them, screw the megatons. Onslaught. Now, there's one more mode I wanted to discuss, but I had to wait until November the 3rd, 2021. The day history will remember where I turned 24, but also for the fact that Onslaught came to the Xbox platforms and PC, a whole year after the PlayStation version got it. Call of Duty always sold their soul. Well, Activision sold COD's soul to the highest bidder for some form of exclusive content. In the days of Black Ops 2 and such, the exclusivity on Xbox was just that the DLCs came 30 days earlier on the 360 compared to the PS3 and PC. Yeah, that blows, but that was waiting for a month. That is nothing compared to waiting for a whole year. Screw that, man. I think Modern Warfare 2019 had a mode blocked off too. Either that or it's still exclusive. It's so dumb. Please stop this, Activision. Oh, hold on, I just got an email from Activision regarding this issue. Oh. But yes, I spent my birthday playing a year-old game mode for a YouTube video I have been writing for months and months at this point. Some may say I don't know how to use my time correctly, and to them I say... Onslaught is a game mode where you have to power up this ether ball of energy on a multiplayer map. You power the surge by killing zombos. Once you kill enough, a surge of energy emits from the ball, cleaning out the area. The ball then moves around the map, rinse and repeat. Every 3 rounds, they're not called rounds, but they really are just rounds, you fight a boss, and after that, the zombos get stronger and faster. Rinse and repeat until you get taken down. Oh, and there's a small zone you have to stay inside. If you leave it, you start to take damage. It's nothing more than a side mode, and that is fine, but it's just a shame that this is the swan song thing for Cold War Zombies for me, due to the damn exclusivity deal Activision made with Sony. A game of Onslaught can really vary depending on the map. Maps like Checkmate I found Onslaught really boring and just ended up giving up on it, while maps like Raid and Rush were pretty fun for me. You get your weapon upgrades, perks and such from the boss fights I previously mentioned. But sometimes you can really get screwed over by the loot, so make sure you load in with your gun of choice that can be upgraded well. Unlike what I did and loaded in with guns that I wanted to level up. I played a few maps, but I don't think I'll ever be going back to Onslaught. Onslaught Containment, however, this was really fun. This mode takes place on the Gunfight Maps, and the downtime of having the floating orb move from one location to another is removed. You barely get a chance to breathe, which I really liked, making what took an hour to do on a multiplayer map take only about 15 on a Gunfight map. I really enjoyed this, and by the time the zombies got to their super sprinter stage, it got really real. Although one thing that I don't like and left a bad taste in my mouth, when you get to a certain point, you take damage if you stand still, it seems. This happened to me on a normal map and a gunfight map, so I'm assuming this is not a glitch, and that ended a match for me once. Like, watch my gameplay of the time I got downed. Would you go back to a mode that ended like that? Like, give me a chance to pick up my rewards, please. Implement this if you really want to, but give me more time than it takes me to eat a whole Nando's chicken before I get downed, please. Like, come on. A little final note, there's intel on each map, right? But I imagine a shed load of this intel would be horribly out of date, meaning Xbox and PC players who really care about the zombies lore kinda got dicked in that respect. But yeah, overall, Onslaught is fine. At least it gives us another way to play zombies. You know, now that I sit here and look at how much we got given in relation to zombies, this might be the most feature-rich game in the zombie series so far. Although Outbreak and Onslaught reuses assets from other mode, that's kind of a theme with Treyarch. This goes all the way back to World at War, reusing maps like Asylum to create Verruct. So that's not that bad in my eyes. So let's rank all the zombies content since this is the internet. At the bottom of the list, we've got Jingle Hells. All these limited time modes do not do much for me, but this was crap in my eyes. Next, we got Cranked 2. A cute idea, but I played it once, and never again. Then we got Hallows Eve Outbreak, a nice short diversion, but not much more. Then Actual Outbreak. I appreciate what it tries to do, and additions like the grappling hook make the issue of traversal more fun, but the issue for me lies at the core. It feels really uninspired. After that, Onslaught. An alright concept, but after a few goes, I was done. If I had played it at launch, I probably would have chipped away at it over time, but having 22 maps to play on, plus the gunfight maps, is rather overwhelming all at once. Next, Dead Ops Arcade 3. It was fun to play at launch, but once I beat it, I never touched it again, and I do find it funny that there are 3 of these things now, considering Dead Ops 1 was just this funny little side thing. Finally, before the main maps, we have Onslaught Containment. A lot of the problems I have with Onslaught are removed here, and the fast-paced nature makes this really fun for me. I will probably boot this up for years to come down the line. Right, the round-based maps. Overall, we have no bad maps in my opinion. Treyarch should be really proud with these 4 maps. But which is the best? Well, in my eyes it ranks Maschine, Firebase, Forsaken Mauer. That was really hard to do actually. So instead of overthinking it, I just kind of went with my gut there. But even after saying all that, none of these are bad maps. Just one I like the least to the best, but the least liked one is still good. probably a snappy way of saying that, but oh well. I will say though, I don't think any of these are all-time classics in my eyes. Maybe Mauer at a push, but I don't believe people will be raving on about these maps for years and years to come. But even after I say all of that, I'm still struggling to order the maps in worst to best in my mind. This list above has changed a bunch as I write this script, and as I go back to grab footage for each of the maps. Ugh, decisions. I hate this. I dread the day I have to decide the carpet we have in the house. Anyways, gameplay wise, I think this is the best zombies experience out there. Story wise, maybe not so much, but overall, us zombies fans had a good year in my opinion, and I will be playing this game down the line from time to time. Oh, as for the Easter egg songs, they're all pretty damn different, so I don't think ranking them is fair. Alone is a pretty good metal track, one you would expect to hear on a zombies map. I love the song Lost, which was sung by the voice actor of Maxis, which is neat. I enjoyed how different it was for a Call of Duty track. Mauer de Toten's map is a song I know from Tony Hawk. It's a bit of a strange choice in my eyes, but I'm not hating. Finally, Samantha's Ballad is a wonderful homage to maps like Buried and Moon in my eyes, with its sound design. It was a lovely surprise the first time I heard it. I noticed I didn't really talk much about the perks in this game, but the selection we got was pretty damn great. I enjoyed unlocking the tier 5 of every perk, and each of them had their use, which made it smart to buy them all if you're going to go for high rounds. Oh, I forgot about Outbreak Survival. No. It seems to be a trend now with CoD games and myself. I get burnt out due to how zombies players are treated. It happened with Black Ops 3. Thankfully, we got that amazing DLC down the line. Black Ops 4 was a mess in my opinion, to the point where I still have not played Tag de Toten, or the one before it. I think it was called Alpha Omega, I don't remember. And well, it happened here too. I got burnt out from the lack of content at launch. Of course, being drip-fed content means you'll always have something to look forward to, but when what you're looking forward to is a baseball bat or a nail gun, it kinda gets underwhelming after a while and you just kinda get frustrated. COVID must have hit this game hard, man. There are so many studios in the introduction idents before the menu, and it really seems that it was all hands on deck to try and get this game in a shippable state. Even then, this game is littered with bugs. In Zombies, I had some pretty damn game-breaking bugs, but thankfully in multiplayer, it was just cosmetic. Maps like Crossroads Strike and Moscow, the floor would disappear, and textures would just not work for me in the match sometimes. There was constant flickering sometimes, and also the sky just disappeared. This was on Series X as well, man. Not even that, but basic things like a theater mode or split screen for zombies are missing in action. It's a shame to see such important things being missing. I haven't mentioned the graphics here, as I'm not really a massive graphics guy despite owning the current gen consoles, but overall, I was sad with Cold War. Looking back, I think Modern Warfare and even World War II look better than this game. Like, look at a cutscene from World War II versus Cold War, but then we look at actual gameplay and to me, it's pretty damn distinct. I think this is due to World War II having a better budget, a better overall colour palette, and production design on the game. And, well, time. Time seems to be the biggest thing that hurts this game. It seems Treyarch, Raven, and the support teams just didn't have the time and resources to produce the game the way they wanted to. The fact I have to say the words "capture the flag" was added in an update sounds absurd to me, as I think back to playing Capture the Flag in 2007 on Halo 3. Is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War a bad game? No. And I congratulate anybody who worked on this project. You peeps managed to get a game out of the door despite everything holding you back, and I thank you for your efforts. I just wish it was more polished and had more time to become the game we wanted it to be, especially as this was the first Call of Duty of a new gaming generation. However, we are noticing a trend in this generation which I have to call Activision out on. Along with 2K, that must be said. With the new consoles, the Series S, X and PS5, we are seeing companies do one of two things. Either a free next-gen upgrade, being pro-consumer, or charging more for either a cross-gen version or straight up more for the next-gen version. In COD's defense,
I feel like something crawled inside me and took a crap.
At least with this cross-gen stuff, we get two versions of the game. In my case, an Xbox One and an Xbox Series X version, but come on, 70 quid? 70? I paid 55 as that was the cheapest I could find. Some may say they're accounting for this via free content updates, but that's why microtransactions exist in this game, isn't it? At least that's what these companies tell us. I'm gonna say this once, vote with your wallet. I don't agree with this business practice. I made this mistake once with Cold War, but from now on I won't be buying any cross-gen or next-gen version if the price is not that of a normal video game that we are used to. Am I sounding elitist? I wouldn't be saying this if it was an indie team or a company that has earned respect, but we're talking about Activision, aren't we? Need I say more? Heck, Activision themselves has been funky with this. Crash Bandicoot 4 had a free next-gen upgrade, meanwhile we had to pay for the Tony Hawk remake upgrade. What? Maybe I should try Modern Warfare 2019 and compare how much Cold War has borrowed from Modern Warfare, as perhaps a lot of the fun I'm having with this game, minus the unique zombies experience, Modern Warfare can't claim to have that, and see if I will enjoy that one more, and by extension, like this one less. I say this, I booted up Cold War after Vanguard launched, and my levels have been reset, with the battle passes now allowing me to earn content for Vanguard and Warzone, instead of Cold War. And my levels have been added to a lifetime prestige, so I guess the model now is from Modern Warfare onwards, you lose your levels every year, and then your overall prestige is carried from game to game. I really don't know how to feel about this, and if I ever do try Modern Warfare 2019, it will be solely to try out the game and not to level up, as this process of how levels are being treated has oddly put me off playing Call of Duty games ever again. But I have just talked about an Activision Blizzard product for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours now, and I can't think of a better way to end this video from a company like this than to say, Activision Blizzard and the higher-ups that allow such atrocious acts such as the Bill Cosby room to be a thing in this era of civilization that we are in. It's disgusting how such a massive company that can treat employees and other companies under their wings as shit. This has been going on for years with Sledgehammer, Raven and Treyarch employees both past and present speaking out, and I wish them the best of luck in getting the compensation they deserve for how Activision is treating them and has treated them in the past. Oh, and like and subscribe and all that. Thank you for watching.